He's probably still in the bathroom.
Who's in the bathroom?
No.
There he is. I thought he was still driving. What?
No, it was one of those life-changing bathroom experiences.
All right, we are live and on the air. It looks like the light is green. Press the button, Frank.
Woohoo!
All right, guys. CoCoTALK episode 73 is going to do it live in 3, 2. This is CoCoTALK, the world's leading live talk show featuring the Tandy Color computer. Streaming live on YouTube and Roku, available as a podcast and enjoyed the world over. And now, here's your host. Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to CoCoTALK episode 73. I am your host, Grant Leety. And we've got a great show in store for you today. Grant Leety, are you still on the road?
Yes, I am.
Grant Leedy's on the road, and I believe there's somebody in your rear view mirror.
Oh,
damn it.
Oh,
There we
hi,
go.
Mike.
And I would like to
Hold on one second here. My freaking soundboard. How do I stop this? There we
I
go.
think Mike Rowan's following you.
Yes, there we go. Let's try this again. Grant Leedy is on the road, and in Grant Leedy's rear view mirror, we have...
Hi, I'm Mike Rowan, president.
Holy
I didn't know Mike Rowan was in life a lot.
Yeah, Mike Rowan is... he's
Mike
everywhere.
Rowan. Mike Rowan's on the case, on patrol.
He's everywhere. He's everywhere.
He's wearing one of those fire chief with the little siren on it. You know.
Yeah. So we've already got a nice little turnout in the live chat. Retro Innovations was here saying the train wreck is almost upon us. And let me see if I can find... I'm afraid to press a button, Frank, on this whole thing here right now. This thing here, that thing needs to go away. My train wreck sound is weird. Here's my train whistle. Oh, Christ. It's over here. There we go. Okay, this is...
All sound effects on CoCoTALK now include Mike Rowan.
Yes, 30% more Mike Rowan. So here's what I need to do right now. I just need to pull that out of my soundboard. I don't know what's going on. We've been infected by the Myro virus. It's like ransomware. This show will not be released until you pay the ransom. Holy crap. So as I was saying in the live chat, Retro Innovations was here saying the train wreck is about to start. Mark Overholzer is here. Rob Inman is here. Richard Lorbieski is there.
Just let Mr. Retro Innovation know I'm in the great state of Iowa right now.
He's in your state. And we have Alexander Wallace is here.
Coming for you.
Rob Inman. Davey Mitchell says a professional production as ever. Right? Thank you, Davey. Al Hartman is here. Mark Overholzer, Davey Mitchell. More Tandy Assembly audio spam. Yes, we'll get it going. We'll get this crap figured out. All right, so now let's start the show. Let's take a look at who we've got in the panel today. Our lovely panel. This is a beauty pageant for you, as you can tell. And so we have Mr. Mark D. Overholzer is with us, our resident Apple guy. Hello, Mark. He's giving us a couple of thumbs up there. We've got, the guy is so cool that he's got to wear shades all the time. Mr. Ron Nelvo is with us.
Welcome.
Hello, Ron.
From Arizona.
It looks like he's doing dental work here. Mr. Richard Lorbieski of Boyson Technologies is with us. Look at that grill there.
Hey, hello. How you doing?
I think I see some plaque in there, so you might want to get the little drill going. So.
Yeah, I'll get all that out.
All right. We got Brian Weasler with us. How are you doing, Brian?
Very good. Hello, all.
Excellent. We've got As Seen at PenFest 99 and 2000. As Seen on the PenFest video on the Popstar Pilot CD. At Hamvention, at CorgsCon, at CoCoFest, and recently at work this morning, Jason, the Coco Man Reichert, is with us today. Good morning, Jason.
Good morning, and it's always important to floss.
Yes.
Hold on. Good morning. Isn't it afternoon?
Listen, we got people all over the country watching us here. So
It's morning somewhere. I'm just going with it.
yeah,
Morning here.
yeah. Being chased by law enforcement. In hot pursuit, we have Grant Leedy, a.k.a. Greg. Welcome, Grant.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
It's going good. We have got with us Al Hartman from Joyzy. How you doing, Al?
He's okay.
All right. And last but certainly not least, we recently celebrated the life and times of legendary game designer, the Thunder from Down Under, Nick Marentes. Welcome back, Nick.
G'day, everyone. And yeah, thanks for the all the attention last weekend.
Well, we figured you needed it, so.
Popstar Pilot's a thing again.
Yeah, Popstar Pilot is a hit. It's a hit. So.
Who's this week's attention grabber?
Well, I was thinking about doing a Timberman
Yeah, I reckon
Mullathon tonight.
soon.
Hooray!
Yeah.
Need to show Paul Thayer some love. I bought a Timberman too.
Pint of milk is here. All right, so I thought I heard some background echo. Ron Delvaux, can you confirm or deny if we are on Roku television?
I can confirm we are. And
We
that
are
was my
on-
background. It was
Okay.
Roku is on.
We are live on the Roku Coco TV channel, streaming live on Roku. We are multi-streaming on the multiverse. You can see us just about anywhere. Later on, you will see me face down in a gutter. So we're here. It is CoCoTALK episode 63. Hopefully, we'll be joined soon by another legend, Mr. Steve Bjork, because I do have his latest presentation set up for Assembly Language Part 6. But while we wait on that, let me throw this to the panel. What's new and exciting this week? Anybody have a project update, an acquisition, anything to want to share with us that's happened to you this week that somebody might care about?
Well, I've started doing some coding on my Gunstar, so
Nice.
Woohoo!
Woohoo!
getting somewhere. I've got a few screenshots of the title page if I can get this sharing going.
Okay, I think I need to.
Someone's
I need
already
to.
sharing.
Yeah, I'm sharing sound. I just stopped sharing. So go ahead, Nick. Take it
Okay.
away.
Just one
Some-
letter away from one star.
Oh, there it is. There's
So that's the
Gunstar.
title page, yeah. So while the title page is showing, it'll also show a high school page, which is that. I put Steve last.
50 points. So you gave me some generous,
So
very
I'm
generous
trying-
of you.
I'm trying to keep it realistic.
That F at the beginning of it looks more like a G.
Which one?
That F in Fun Star.
Oh,
looks
the
really
fun, yeah.
a lot like a G.
Well, yeah, it is. It's Gunstar this time.
Gunstar.
And of course, there'll be my music playing in the background, which I'm working on as we speak.
There we go. There we go.
I'll see if I can turn off this sharing now.
I like
remember
that
how
star
that's done.
field in the background.
Yes,
That
that's
is
very nice.
stellar.
If I can get the damn screen back, I can turn off the sharing.
It is quite stellar, yes.
Now
And
remember,
there
if
we
you're
go.
sitting on the fence about buying a copy of Popstar Pilot, get off the fence, because sitting on the fence is a painful place to be.
That's right.
There's no lumbar support either.
I actually have a good excuse. Until the last few weeks, I did not have a 500.
Hmm.
I was excluded until now.
Well, what was I going to say? I have on my screen, I'm not sure how well you guys can see it, but I have on my CM8, I do have Cosmic Ambush running, and it does not flicker the way it did through my RGB to SCART to HDMI adapter. So I am thinking that some of that flicker was just a timing delay in my I got two layers of conversion going on here. So I got an RGB to SCART, that's my first layer. Then I got a SCART to HDMI, that's the extra layer. So I think it's that legendary layer 2 that created the problem there. Speaking of legends, in his own mind, L. Curtis Boyle from O Canada is with us. Welcome, Curtis. How's it going, eh?
Sorry I'm late here. I had a work call right at the last minute and I got stuck on the phone. So,
Oh,
Good.
that,
Our Canadian content has now gone up.
and it sounds like you need ease of use in cables,
yeah. So Kyle
which I
Eder has
will
joined
have a
us.
bit of a news announcement on that later on when you guys get to it.
Okay, excellent. Kyle has joined us. Nick Marota's here, everybody. Everybody say hi to Nick Marota.
Hi, Nick.
Right.
Hi, Nick.
Paul,
Nick,
Paul-
Nick
Sounds like an AA meeting.
yeah, Paul
All right.
Fiscarelli has just joined us. All right, so one of our project updates was Nick Marionettes is showing us an update to Fun Star. Anybody else have anything going on this week? New and exciting to share, show and tell time?
Yeah, actually, I need to make an announcement. I'm going to be out of the country starting next Saturday, so Thursday is going to be the final day until next Monday, which is, I think, the 16th or 17th of September, that you'll be able to order anything from Voice on Tech. So next Thursday is the final day to order anything. Yeah, so order now. Thursday is the deadline.
Okay.
So which country are you going to? So make sure it's not Australia.
Oh, it's Australia. Yeah.
Oh, is it?
No. I'm going on. We're going on a cruise, so we're going to Jamaica, Cayman Islands, and Mexico.
Bermuda, Bahama, come on, pretty mama.
Sounds like they're keeping him in the Northern Hemisphere. You're safe, Nick.
Yeah.
Okay, so Australia and the US will be safe.
Yes.
Oh, Lord have mercy. So if you need to get yourself a boomerang board, you've got until Thursday this week to order some, or Voice on Technologies has left the building. You'll have to wait about a week or so before you can get your order fulfilled. Is that a good synopsis there, Richard?
Yes, that CPUs and anything else that I sell, quality stuff.
Quality stuff.
And you
That's
might as well
right.
order Pups
And of
for Pilot
course,
while you're at it.
Jim's handling all the returns, so.
Nick Marotta says cruises are floating buffets. Those are
Yes,
awesome.
they are.
A buffet at sea. And if the nice thing is if the boat were to capsize, then the passengers become a buffet for the sharks. So
Yes.
really nice. The circle of life will continue. And yeah, then Ken says, and then when you come back, the mania will be real again. So
That's right.
then good times. And so Curtis, you say you have something to share with us, but you're going to save it for a little bit later in the program.
Was this just general updates?
This is new updates, acquisitions. The
Okay,
usual.
I'll wait for news.
You'll wait for news. Wow, Curtis's update is so important. It is newsworthy. So that's the world is going to be
It's fake
changed.
news, but it's still
Stop the presses.
Stop the presses. Stop the presses.
Actually, that's one of the reasons I was late, because one of my clients had stopped the presses because of an so.
Excellent. Anyone else got anything new? Brian, you've been posting some pictures on Facebook of a couple of things. I've actually got a few of them that I was going to show in the news segment. So anything you want to share with us that you've been doing this week?
Oh, just been kind of going through my box of stuff that I had stashed away many years ago and getting back into it. And you all saw the picture here that I
That is so cool.
there, which kind of had kind of interesting reaction there. A lot of people had played around with it, and one person actually had shared a video. It looks like it might have been either from high school, I'm guessing maybe college, where they actually used it to make an automated voice-activated door lock.
Oh, wow.
Kind of an interesting twist with that one there. So, yeah, I've just been kind of going through some stuff and getting up to speed. I do have my switcheroo and CoCo SDC on order.
Your STD? You've got a Coco STD? Is that what you said?
It has nothing to do with the switcheroo.
Yes, I will be ordering something to take care of that too. So
If your expansion card experiences a burning sensation that lasts more than 4 hours, contact
Just
Jim
make sure to
Brain.
cover with a dust cover first.
The switcheroo has some kind of a cover on it, doesn't it?
I should mention though, Bill and I fiddled with years back in the day too, and I mean by modern day standards, it wasn't the most accurate. Like you could sometimes you had to really enunciate well. Like we programmed it to do say dir and list as a couple of commands, and we did a few others too. And you'd say dir, and it would actually execute a directory, and list, and it would actually list a program. But every once in a while, those two would get confused, and you go list, and we do a dir, and you go. Thing,
But like in Canadian tradition, it had trouble with color.
Hey?
It's because you Yanks don't know how to spell properly. I mean, come on.
We're just rebellious.
I've got Linux on my Coco now.
What, Linux on your Coco?
Yeah. It's OS 9, but it's similar.
Okay.
But I thought you were talking about physics, maybe.
Yeah, right. Hey, look at that mug Curtis has. I'm a Coke, and hold that up, Curtis. Let's all see that mug. Look at that little product placement for you there. Nice product placement. Available at the Retro Swag Shop at 8bit256.com. Thank you. I'll be here all week. There's in the background, I can see the Roku and over Ron's shoulder there. So there's Roku running on a slight delay, but that's cool. We're live on the Coco TV channel on Roku. We got about 21 people watching us live right now on the multiverse. Hello to you all. Rob Inman says, ease of news. So when Curtis has his news, it will be ease of news. So excellent.
I also see Ron's running, I think it was Chet Simpson that did the ray tracing animated ball demo there. In the background, he has running on his Coco 3 there.
Oh, my God. Oh, no, Coco Cat number 2. Ron Delvaux.
Yes.
Coco Cat. You need to go outside? Go, Coco Cat.
So, Ron, is that the Chet Simpson bouncing ball ray trace demo?
Yeah, I believe so. I don't know whose it is, actually. It has a announcement in the beginning on what it is, but I'm so excited to see it. I just hit go. But it's an awesome little bouncing demo.
Skip to get to the good part.
Yeah, that has that ray tracing where it actually figures out your reflectivity and all that kind of stuff, and takes hours and hours to generate. I know the PC world just got an announcement. I think it was NVIDIA.
Yeah, the RTX.
A video card that is going to be supporting full ray tracing, so you can get real effects instead of all this fake triangle polygon stuff.
Yeah, the new product line on NVIDIA, they've gone from the GTX to the RTX line, which has real-time hardware-based ray tracing effects. So you get a lot of chrome and reflection and all kinds of stuff done in hardware.
Because right now the current polygons, from what I understand, it calculates, basically it does a very primitive form. Like it calculates from as far away and then towards you and overlaps stuff that so it actually is wasting time drawing stuff that doesn't need to be drawn and stuff. But it also is not so totally accurate. Like if you have a scene where you have like water, but there's something off to the side off screen, it doesn't take that into consideration to doing the reflections. It only does the stuff that's on screen. Whereas ray tracing takes the entire world into consideration and multiple reflections of multiple sources all hitting each other. So you get much more realistic graphics. It's what Hollywood uses to do their special effects. So if we're going to see that on the PC game side, that'd just be amazing. But going back to this, I mean, back in the day, I mean, the Amiga and the Coco 3 and the Atari ST used to do these ray tracing demos where they draw these scenes and you just set up, a crystal ball and an opaque ball and a translucent ball and a checkerboard floor and a bunch of other things. And then it would calculate all the reflections and magnifications going through these lenses and stuff like that. And it was amazing looking pictures. And Ron's got the animated version there too, but they took hours or days to draw.
So that wasn't being done in real time? Is that like rendered frame by frame?
It was pre-rendered, yeah. It was pre-rendered.
Pre-rendered.
And then saving each image, and then he just animated between all the screens.
Okay. But it's still pretty cool that the Coco, it's because of the gimme. We've had the original GPU, the gimme. So
well, the nice thing about the Coco 3 is because of the flat memory map for the graphics, even in high res. I mean, most people do page flipping as double or triple buffering. Basically, you're only restricted by RAM. So if you have a 2 meg machine, you could, decouple buffer if you wanted to, or animate between 10, 20, 30, 40 screens at once. You can make a really complicated animation.
Yeah, Davey Mitchell says don't forget the teapots. So there must have been some ray trace teapots too, huh?
Yeah, I do remember those too.
Cool. So yeah, all kinds of cool stuff going on. Anyone else got anything cool to talk about this week? Actually, you know what I'm going to do, Nick, real quick? I want to pull up the latest sales figures. Let's see how we did in our marathon of...
the Mullathon?
The Mullathon, yes. Yeah, Curtis wasn't here to defend himself, and it was really, really fun having...
Well, I tried it in the chat, but...
Yeah.
That doesn't really work that well because you guys can just ignore the chat. So
yes, we can. So looks like we just have another retail order that just came through on the 31st of August, and that is also a Popstar Pilot. So in the month of August, I'm not going to mention any names like I did last time. That was shame on me. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 orders of Popstar Pilot in the month of August. Not bad. Good job, Nick Marentes.
Not bad, yeah. Thanks for all your effort as well.
Yeah.
Is that enough for Ferrari number 3?
Yeah, just about, yeah. Matchbox are about to release a new Ferrari, so yeah, I might save up for that.
Good times. Yeah, so Nick Marotta wants to know, did Timmy get his wheelchair? We did.
It's in the back seat of the Ferrari.
Well, Curtis got a haircut, so that was worth it right there. So
he's trying to shake off the mullet tag.
Oh Christ, that was fun.
you want me to upload that picture again?
No, I'm still trying to get that image out of my. When I close my eyes, I still see it. I'm trying to get it burned out of my brain, so I'm gonna stare at the sun for a few days.
There are pictures of me playing guitar at Coco Fest in the late '90s with that same haircut too. So.
Oh Lord!
Alan Huffman has a few if you really want to try.
That was good.
What was that, Mark?
Yeah. Someday you'll leave the 90s behind.
Right.
Well, my shorter hair, I've kind of left it behind.
Speaking of which, let's look at some numbers here real quick for just a second. God, I have so many scenes to switch from now. So, Ken Reichert says that Popstar Pilot is evil, wrapped in a cartoon shell. All right, so
That's a pretty easy game to me, but
yeah. Retro Innovations wants to know if we'll make enough money to hire a real host. Okay, so
no, Jim, we can't afford you.
Yeah, right. All right, so as of this morning, we are at 11,329 downloads of the audio and video podcast. That's lifetime to date. Not a bad number right there.
I want to point out on there, too, like it says that the last 3 months, and I've been kind of monitoring that because that's kind of monitoring the trend of where we're going currently.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the first time it's broken 2,000, hasn't it?
Honestly,
For 3 months?
I don't know. I haven't been spending that much time looking at that. I just kind of look at the cumulative numbers. I think we've always averaged. We're averaging about 1,000 per month. So
so that's actually down then, according to that.
I don't know. Again, it's hard for me to keep track of it all. But if we look at some of the most recent episodes, what's gotten the most downloads on the podcast side? So episode 69 got 77 downloads. Episode 70, Dennis Kitts, 73 downloads. Episode 71, Abe Vigoda, 63. Episode 69, VCF West got 57 downloads recently. Video episode number 5, that was our Commodore Expo, which thanks to Jim Brain for that. 56 downloads there. Abe Vigoda video 56. So you remember we're now audio and video downloads. So when we post a podcast, there's an audio version and a video download. Okay. So the Mullathon I also posted as video podcast. So we got an additional basically 50 views on each part of those. Our After Dark number 12's got about 50, and so it's been the audience is listening, the audience is watching. On the YouTube side of this, we've gotten about 60 views each on the Mullathon Part 1 and 2. Our Commodore Expo's got over 100 views on that. That was really informative to see all that technology at that Commodore Expo that Jim showed us. And then last week's episode 72, 151 views. So those are some of the numbers from the past week or so. So not bad. I just want to say thank you. You're too kind. Thank you. I want to say thank you to everybody who listens to this train wreck of a show. And good times.
When did James come in the room?
Actually, what James says, he's got stuff to do. He's going to mow his lawn today and go on a barbecue. And we have CoCoTAK. Is that CoCoTAK number 3 now that Mark Oberholzer's got on there?
Sure looks like it.
Yeah, I got my cat down here.
Along at home.
Yeah. If you're not keeping up with the cat counter now, we've reached Def Cat 3. So Jason's got CoCoTAK number 1. My cat's here. You've been hearing him. There he is. He's waving at us. Hey, dude. Meow, meow.
The cats may want to see this.
Oh, that's a mouse stuck in a computer?
Yeah.
A rat.
More like a rat.
Oh, wow.
We're not going to have that in the Coco unless you repack it, I guess, huh?
Yeah. Wow. How the hell does that happen? And what did he do? He must have chewed on a wire and got electrocuted or something?
Well, they must have left the case open, too.
Yeah.
No, they can get through any hole in the back of the case that they can fit their head through.
Man.
All right.
That's today's fun fact.
Yes.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well,
So
when I worked in the CompUSA Tech shop, I repaired a Packard Bell that a mouse had gotten into and took a pee on top of the floppy controller. And that's
It
why
probably actually improved a Packard Bell.
I always thought the mice were on the outside of the computer, but apparently this is the new.
Apparently, I didn't think we could get any lower in our standards here, but that's all. Just saying.
Oh, ye of little faith.
You're welcome.
Yeah, never underestimate this show.
It was a Packard Bell computer, not a Barbie computer.
No.
All right, have we done our round robin? Everybody chimed in with anything they wanted to speak about?
Little thing.
Okay. Hey, Rick Adams is here. Thank you. You're too kind. Go ahead, Al Hartman.
I'm still wrestling with my drive wire situation. Not sure where the error lies. But the gentleman I bought the wire from, the drive wire cable, is the author of that software you might have seen on eBay, the high-speed drive wire alternative. So he sent me
Roger Taylor.
No, not Roger Taylor. This is a gentleman named John Heber. He sells the software that he claims is 20 times faster than tape loading.
Okay.
And it loads software over the three-wire cable. It's similar to DriveWire. So he sent me his software to evaluate. So I got it late last night. I haven't had a chance to look at it yet, other than perusing the manual. It's very different from DriveWire, but I'm going to take a look at it, and next week I may have something to report about it.
Cool.
Okay. Interesting. So have you gotten your whole USB to serial adapter thing working on your computer?
Well, I got the third one yesterday.
Oh, wow.
I had a chance to hook it up. I bought a name brand instead of going for these cheap Chinese ones that say they have the correct chip in them. I went for a Sabrent, which is somewhat name brand.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going
Definitely.
to try that later today and see if that works. And John is sending me a newer cable. Didn't come today, but he's sending me a cable wired up to Roger Taylor's pinout, with the jumpers on the DB9 ends.
Okay. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this just in. We've got David Ladd live on video.
What?
David Ladd is here. David, welcome to the program. David Ladd, Lord of the Floppy. We never get to see David on video. How are you, David Ladd?
David who?
You're muted, by the way. You're muted, David. You're still muted.
He is a mutant.
David, you're muted. You're unmuted. Hey, David.
Too much hair.
Yeah.
It's not David Ladd.
Has a beverage.
Live from Taco Bell, it's David Ladd.
It looks like a McDonald's cup, actually.
Yes.
Can you turn on the sharing for a sec?
I can, yes.
Yep.
Hold on 1 second. Go for it, Nick.
All right. I'll just bring something else up I found.
Welcome, David. And Steve Bjork's with us, too. Steve just joined us. Hello, Steve.
Hey.
Can't find it.
This is like a Bigfoot sighting when we see David Ladd live. And
Even more rare.
Yes.
I think it's just a green screen effect.
Well, David really doesn't get on video that much. That's the reason why. He's holding the camera the wrong way.
Hey, at least he's got light in front of him, so.
I could go somewhere with that.
Hey. Okay, Nick Marionettes has started screen sharing.
Yeah.
Hey, there's Curtis with his
that?
mullet again. Curtis
The
and
mullet
Alan.
Man.
The
And
mullet
Alan,
man.
that's right.
That's
I
not
like
it.
that.
That's full mullet potential. That's later when I trimmed it a bit.
With his double
Oh, okay. Well, that's
Yeah.
the earliest I got.
What?
I think
Mullet
that-
light.
Curtis,
Yeah, mullet light.
do you always have to double what Alan does?
Well, it's actually triple in this case because that was an event that Alan didn't bring his guitar, so he's using my other spare guitar.
Wow.
That's Chicago 2001.
Oh,
I
wow.
think it was the last one I went to when I took a holiday from the Coco community for a while there. So I think that was the last one I went to until 2015.
You took a holiday, or the public got a holiday from you?
Oh, whatever. Potato.
Hey, Tom C. has joined us. Tim Franklin is here.
I don't
Rob
think we have enough
Inman.
trolls because Davey's stepping up here.
Davey Mitchell. Suddenly, I want the dead rat back after he saw Curtis's mullet.
Some people called that the mullet. It looked like a dead rat, so that
Ken says Trim Mullet's a great band name. Trim. Wow. Oh, here we go. Nick Marionettes has got live. What is this? Butt crack vision? Okay.
I remember that.
Oh my God!
It's a full view of the mullet. I did.
There you go.
Please, this is a family show.
I'm scarred for life.
That's Mark Marlette, if I remember correctly, and it was also my TC9. I was showing him some of the Nitrous 9s.
Okay. At least there was no plumber's crack in that one there, so that's good. So Dave Phillipson is here. Hey, Dave. And history has been made. David Ladd's live on video.
I think he's on video just to make up for the fact that he hasn't been here in a while, and even when he is, he's normally just audio. So this kind of is like a twofer to make up for all the lost time.
Yes. Good to see you, Dave, literally.
Yep, real treat.
Uh-oh, here's more Nick Marionette's video sharing. Oh, the back of Curtis's head.
That's even better. It's even better.
Yes.
Mullet man. That's
Mullet man.
Well, that's, the
That's not even close to the mullet.
that's not even close.
What is the description of a mullet?
You have to find one from a few years earlier for the real thing.
Yeah, I'll have to chase up.
We can
one,
call
yeah.
it Mark
Okay.
Millette.
Labor Day Mullathon.
Labor Day Mullathon. We're going to do that. Mark
We need to find
Millette.
out where Curtis graduated from high school and pull up his yearbook pictures.
I had short hair in high school. The mullet was later.
Did you have one of those, the tails when you were in high school?
Nope,
Like
I
the
didn't
rat
have long
tail?
hair at all in high school.
Oh, Nick Marotta says that's also known as the hockey haircut when you have like a mullet that makes it to your collar, basically. So just long enough to make it past
That's
the helmet.
Your playoff hair where you don't shave and you don't cut your hair until you get booted out of the playoffs.
Tom C is with us. Dave Phillipson's here. Hey guys, Davey Mitchell's doing a good job and trolling for us. So Jim Brain's got to up the ante.
Yeah, Jim Brain has a boring state, by the way.
Oh, you drove through it?
Iowa is flat.
Yeah.
I think we'd outflat you up here.
Where I live, you're all flat.
Yeah, Florida's pretty flat too, you know.
Yes,
That's
it is.
true.
All right, well, we're on the half-hour mark here. We're going to take a quick moment here to, I'm not sure, I got some noise in the background. Is that the, are you visiting Michael Brandt's institution by any chance, David Ladd?
No.
Okay. You hear a little bit of background chatter there. Where are you at? You at Mickey D's, David?
I'm at some undisclosed location.
Some undisclosed
The eyebrows made that even more creepy.
Oh,
right.
I'm waiting for you.
Wow.
Hint. I'll give him a hint. It requires bail.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, he just got done doing his fingerprints, so he's good to go.
Wow.
Steve York's here as well.
Yep, Steve is here. All right, let's take a quick moment to look at our sponsors here for just a minute. So, yes, every week we've got, let me take a moment to say thank you to those who are creating content for our community. So we have the Coco VGA project at CocoVGA.com. We've got Richard Lorbieski and Boyson Technologies, who's taking orders up until Thursday when he leaves the country at BoysonTech.com, handling all of Richard's warranty repair and making new quality hardware for a variety of retro systems. We have retro innovations at go4retro.com. We must not forget Mark Millette at Cloud9 Technologies, making Coco hardware, accessories, and peripherals for the past 29.7 years. Cloud9tech.com. SDpack.com. Switcheroo Mania is available at Coco3ScartCable.com. We are on, Ron, are we still on Roku?
Yes.
Somebody mentioned in the live chat that it seemed like it was frozen, but we are on the Coco TV channel, streaming live on Roku. Thank you to Roger Taylor. If you want to get yourself not only some Coco merchandise like T-shirts and coffee mugs, but you can also get Popstar Pilot on CD. You can get Rick Adams' Bomb Threat there. You can get Timberman there. Links to all of the current modern Coco software that's available to be ordered online are all available at the Retro Swag Shop at 8bit256.com. I'mACoconut.com is where you go to find out all your Coco stuff. We're at CoCoTalk.live. The Coco Crew podcast just dropped a brand new episode, which I'm looking forward to listening to. So make sure you check out them at CocoCrew.org. Brian Joyce of Extructus Productions and his blogs and other projects can be found at FD501.com. And Ed Snyder and the Zipster Zone available at the Zipster, Z-I-P-P, stirrzone.com. And that's where you can get all your cool Ed Snyder goodies. So we're going to pause for a brief commercial break while somebody beats away on their keyboard. And we'll be back here in about a minute and a half, 2 minutes. So grab yourself a drink if you need to, smoke them if you got them. Potty break. We'll be back in just a few.
Hi, Ron Delvo, Timberman, CoCoFest, CoCoTALK.
We'll return after these messages.
Hi, I'm Bruce Moore, and this is Jacob Moore. Gotcha. And we are the Forest of Doom guys, and the Coco Forever guys, and we're at CoCoFest, and we love Stevie Stroh.
What if, knowing what I know now, I could go back in time, join Tandy Corporation, and change the course of history? Coco Forever.
How does it feel? I'm still believing.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's me. It's Original Gamer Stevie Stroh. You know, gameplay. To get your copy of a Gameplay Goodness Color Computer Gaming DVD today, head on over to 8bit256.com. There you will find several DVDs featuring color computer gameplay videos by the Original Gamer Stevie Stroh. So to get your very own copy of a Gameplay Goodness Color Computer Gaming DVD, head on over to the Retro Swag Shop at 8bit256.com and tell them the Original Gamer Stevie Stroh sent you.
Let the Radio Shack TRS-80 put the world of color computing into your home. Instant loading program packs turn any color TV into an exciting game arcade. And there's more. The color computer is an educational aid, a home management tool, an up-to-the-minute electronic information service. The programmable, expandable TRS-80 color computer from $399 only at Radio Shack, the biggest name in little computers.
All right, we're back. So I always pull the trigger too fast. Let's let the speech sound pack finish what he was saying. Sorry, SSC.
Me turn you to CoCoTALK.
There we go. And we are back. And since we had a few people join us while we were going through project updates and acquisitions and show and tell time, Rick Adams, how are you, sir? Welcome to the program. Glad to have you.
Hello. Thank you. You're too kind. Yes.
Thank you. You're too
We were
kind.
waiting for that.
Yes.
And anything new and exciting with you this week that you'd like to share with your fans?
Not really. Still working on the game, slowly but surely.
Excellent.
What game is that?
Eventually I'll be done. What?
What game is that? There's so many-
OmniStar.
Omnistar. Oh, I've heard of that one. It's supposed to be really good.
Where the hell have you been, Mark?
So you've been led to believe.
Yes. So I played the update just recently, but only played it for a little bit. So I'm looking forward to checking it out again with all the flashing lights and screen shake and all that kind of stuff. So the polished version.
And then, Rick, are you still adjusting the difficulty level? Because the fact that Stevie won the game already when he was beta testing, to me means it's just
it needs some
he
help,
can't get
doesn't
past
it?
level 2. So
He had it on Please Don't Hurt Me mode. It has to be.
Yeah, so Kyle Etter said, "Hey, I ordered my copy of Popstar Pilot after watching the Mullathon. So apparently we did some good there." And then of course somebody else says, "I returned mine after watching the Mullathon. After watching Steve play, I returned my copy of Popstar Pilot." And that wasn't
Robin.
So we have some new people vying for the title of Troll. Very good. David Ladd, we've not heard from you for a while. Would you like to share with us like what flavor milkshake you had at Mickey D's or anything like that? Did you get an apple pie?
That's also classified.
We already know it was half Diet Dr. Pepper, half water.
David Ladd.
Okay, so I guess it's not classified.
So has bail been set yet, David?
what they
One thing that fascinates me about Dave in being in the witness protection program here is he's the most well-lit protection program person I've ever seen.
Yeah, exactly.
Because in real life, he doesn't look anything at all like that.
really.
Yeah, this is just his emoji face.
Yeah, well, David got rid of his mullet too. Thanks for getting rid of your mullet for us just before showtime, David. So.
Oh, it's all nice and smooth. I got my head all ready for you, Steve.
Wow. Okay.
So you're
all
all ready for the next Coco Fest when we buff your head.
I'll bring my
He's
turtle
definitely ready
wax.
for After Dark right now.
This is getting creepy.
Yes, it is. And Steve Bjork, how have you been, sir?
Oh, just hanging in.
Okay. Anything? Any show and tell type stuff that's going on?
I've been missing in action for about the last week or more, so I don't have much.
Okay. Well, we're glad to have you here today. We can get to the assembly segment if you're ready for that here in just a minute.
Sure.
Okay. So we do have assembly language part 6. We're going to be coming up with that. So did I miss anybody? Anybody else have anything they wanted to share with us before we get on to the next part of the program?
The next car on this train wreck?
Next, yes, sir. Jim Brain says David Ladd, Lord of the Buff. Buff the helmet.
Brought to you by Turtle Wax.
All right. So supersize whenever possible. Right. So there we go. Cool. All right. So we want to do that. We want to just jump into assembly. Can you guys handle that? Is everybody ready for some assembly? It's been a couple of weeks. So are we ready to learn more?
Yeah,
About
we got a
60
little
in
bit of bit manipulation and shifting here to do.
All right. Actually, I got to pull it up now. I've got to get the document open. So give me just a second here. I had it downloaded. Now I got to get it opened. Very good. Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back on target here and learning more
Steve,
stuff. Yeah.
Is this the most people you've had on video-wise?
Since we've been
12?
on Zoom, possibly. So what do we have? 4 by 3, 12 people on right now. Myself means 13. This might be one of the bigger Zoom turnouts since we've switched over. Definitely. It is definitely a possibility. All right, so we are going to go ahead and we're going to switch over to the full screen view here. And right now we've got Ron Delvaux on camera, but I think as Steve starts talking, we'll get Steve's camera on here. But we are now here on part 6 of our assembly language series. Part 6 comes right after part 5 for those of you who are not up on your numbers yet. And here we go. Take it away, Mr. Bjork.
Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Anyways, one thing that when you do graphics, you do sound, you check I/O, you're looking at things on a computer, is a lot of times the stuff isn't a full byte, it's a bit. It's just one unit of information, whether it's on or off. And this part of the lesson has to do with manipulating information, not in bytes, but all the way down to the bit level. A byte contains 8 bits, and you got to deal with it. And not only is this important for, putting graphics up on the screen and playing with the 6 bits audio and stuff like that, it's really part of also helping the computer making decisions. In other words, testing information and responding to it. So we'll be talking about decision making in the next session, but this section allows us to set up and figure out what information we want to look at so we can figure out what we want to do. So let's go ahead and dive into bit manipulation and shifting commands, and let's go with the next slide.
There we go.
All right. Sometimes you're going to get information in the byte that you don't want to deal with. And one of the easiest ways to remove that information is using the AND command. You know, we've all heard people say the phrase this and that. It basically means that you want to say that your answer is if both of them are together. In other words, if you compare a 1 to a 1, you get a 1 out of it. If you've got a 0 to a 0, you get a 0 out of it. If you compare a 1 to a 0, guess what? You get a 0 out of it. In other words, both bits must be 1 to get a 1 answer, get the 1 out of it. Now, in the case of the AND command, that can work on the A and B registers, which are your 8-bit registers, or it can work on the condition code registers. Now, that's something we're going to save for a later time, because condition code registers are things like the flags, like whether or not the answer was 0, if you had a carry, and a few other things like that. So we're just going to concentrate mostly right now on using the AND instruction with the A and B registers. And of course, when you use this operation, all the flags, or I should say the flags of negative and 0 will be set or reset depending on whether bit 7 is set. Well, that's the negative. That's what the negative flag bit works with. And if all the bits are 0, then the 0 flag will get set. And for some reason, the overflow flag will get to 0 automatically for some reason. But anyways, really, basically what it's doing is it allows you to strip off information. And like, for example, if you are looking, oh, that was lovely, that burp.
It must have been David at his...
Yep. Couldn't get to that mute button, could you? Anyways, for example, one of the ports on the CoCo is the status of whether or not, you know, of the RS-232 bit on the bitbanger port, you know, for the input. And sometimes you'd like to be able to just see if that particular bit is high or low for the status of what it is. Well, what you would do is use this AND command to strip away the other bits by having them 0 and leave that one bit that represents the serial port 1. And what that does is when you do the command, the answer is you either get a 0 or 1 only on that one bit. So this is very, very handy for doing input information and also, you know, and also clearing bits and stuff like that. So it'll be something that as we get into the practical use of assembly section of the course, we'll be using quite a bit when we go to the next one. As I said earlier, the AND condition code is used to clear bits in the condition code register. We'll go into there's some very special function commands that we'll go into later. Now, one thing I will mention about this is a lot of other processors, they'll have a command such as clear carry flag and set carry flag and all these other type of, you know, bit manipulation flags where they're a direct command to either set or clear it. Well, the 6809 with all of its addressing modes and instructions like that, it was starting to get ridiculous on the number of individual commands. So they decided to use AND condition code for all the different clearing of carry flag, overflow flag, and all the other flags in the register. It was a way to save on the number of commands that were in the system. So
it also has the advantage that you can set or clear more than one flag at a time, which on other CPUs you have to issue multiple instructions to do that.
Exactly. Very handy when you're doing high-speed interrupt instructions and like that too. So it was a way to get rid of a lot of these commands that aren't used too much, that are just single function commands, and make it where in one command you do a lot. And the only downside to it was the fact that we had basically, you know, an extra byte, because you have the command that says we're going to do this, and there's a byte embedded in the command that says which flags are you going to clear. So Anyways, we're going to get into more details about the condition code register when we go into the special function commands in a later episode. So let's go to the next slide. This here command, OR, is the exact opposite. It's used to set a bit. It's used to make a bit become 1 in a lot of cases like that. It's, like AND was this and that. Well, this is OR this and that. If either bit that matches is a 1, you're going to get a 1. You only get a 0 when both bits are 0. So bit 0 in one location is a 0, and bit locations 1 is 1 in another, you're going to get a 1. If they're both 0, you're going to get a 1. Pretty simple and straightforward. And a good example of it is down at the bottom of my slide here, where we've got a number, this is in binary, of 0, 0, 0, 0, and 1, 1, 1, 1. In other words, 4 zeros, 4 ones. You AND it with 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, and you're going to get 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. In other words, everywhere that you have a 1 in the bit, you're going to get a 1 out. And there are times that you want to do this too. Like, for example, if you put information out on the 6-bit DAC, well, that's only 6 bits. Well, Tandy used the other 2 bits for stuff on that I/O port. And one of those bits is the serial output bit. So if you were, and you have to set that bit to 1. If you don't, what will happen is that as you change the audio, you're going to be sending data out your serial port, and it's going to be a bunch of garbage. And if you have a printer connected to it, it's going to print to your printer. So what we would do when we'd create the audio that we wanted to go out, that 6-bit audio, before we put it out to the port, we would do an OR %10, or in other words, the number 2. And that would make sure that bit stayed high and wouldn't mess up the printer. And yes, some of the early games did screw up your printers because some people didn't realize to do that.
So, learning has a curve.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, well, you start learning how all this stuff gets done. Anyways, let's go to the next slide.
Steve, I just want to go back to that slide. Did you have the results of the ORA and the AND samples at the bottom? Aren't those backwards?
For an OR, you're right. No, I have it right.
Because your AND example there should be 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 1, shouldn't it?
Okay, let me go to my AND. I may have made a typo. No, the AND is correct.
For your result?
Yeah, for the result. The AND is correct for the result, and so is the OR.
The AND will only turn on a 1 if both bits are 1. So in this case here, the only times
there's the problem. In the slide, I have the word AND when I should have put the word OR.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Yeah, that's exactly
okay. So OR favors the 1 either way, but AND only favors the 1 if both bits are 1.
Yeah. Exactly. And I apologize for the mistake there. I think I was doing this slide a couple weeks ago at 2:00 in the morning.
That's why I was kind of hesitant on questioning it here, because I haven't had much sleep the last couple of weeks due to work either. So I wasn't sure. I was thinking
that's exactly what it is. So anyways, well, let's pass on to the next slide after the OR.
Roger that.
And of course, we have the OR condition code, which is used to set the flags. As Chris pointed out earlier, you can set a bunch of flags all at the same time and like that. But we'll talk more about that in a later session. Let's go on to the next slide.
We'll save that for an after dark.
Trust me, I have one lesson already planned where I'm going to try and get you to at least DEF CON 2.
Oh, but I wanted it at DEF CON 5.
DEF CON 5 is the coolest one. DEF CON 1 is the hottest. So
Yeah.
it counts down.
Yeah, they had that argument on Big Bang Theory. Anyways, now this command, Eeyore.
Oh, that's a Winnie the Pooh character.
Yeah, this is not Winnie the Pooh character, but it is. Think of it as either or, because what happens here is if the bits don't match, you get a 1.
Is that the exclusive or?
Yep, exactly. Basically, what we're doing here is it's very much like the previous ones. It operates on the A and B registers only. No, they did not put this in as a condition code setting or resetting instruction. That would have been ridiculous. But anyways, basically the idea here is if you want to flip a bit. This is real handy for in the case of, let's say you got something on the graphics screen and you want to change it. And you can use this flipping of specific bits and like that. So only one dot changes, even though there's 4 other dots in that particular byte and other things like that. But also there are times in working with the IO ports when you're reading them like that, you want to flip the information. Also, if you're using the single bit sound port, you use the Eeyore to flip it, to change it from high to low, low to high.
Okay.
And basically, any bit that's set, by the way, this slide has the same problem too. The word "and" appears in the example. It's supposed to be Eeyore.
Eeyore.
But, yeah, but the results are what they're supposed to be.
So we've just recently been joined by Simon Jonason. I believe he knows a thing or two about 1-bit audio. So Simon's probably familiar with this.
Yeah. Anyways, but once again, it's only on the A and B register.
Okay.
And it's very handy to change things and like that. And that's one thing you do in the processor a lot is you do go through and have to change the status of bit quite a bit for things. And you know, the reason why we do a lot of bits is bits, you know, there's 8 bits in a byte. That saves a lot of information. When you only had 64K of address space, you really had to go down to the bit of information. A lot of programs I used, not only was there compression, there was ways where, okay, I only needed 8 states for something. So that's 3 bits. Well, within a byte, I would use 2 different things that had 3 different states. That way I got closer, you know, I could put in half the space and I still had 2 bits on top.
Right,
and there's also other techniques with that we call data streams. And we use that quite a bit in audio and like that, where it's, you know, the bits don't line up with bytes. So you have to go down to bit manipulation. So we do an awful lot of that. See, nowadays with our computers, we got so much damn memory. We don't care about getting down to the bit. So let's go to the next slide.
Let me just ask you a quick question on this one here. So if I was to visualize this, because we're talking about literally inverting bits,
right?
This could be used to create like a inverse flashing effect. Like if you had white text on a black background and you were just to Eeyore all of these, you could simulate the inverse blinking, right? So black on white and white on black.
Right, and you could even go farther. If you had 4-bit color, you could switch between 2 particular colors and other issues and like that. It's a very handy command, but you got to remember it's going to read the information and flip it, and it's going to only do this in the A and B register. So the A register would have to read the memory location, flip it, you know, flip those particular bits, and then store them back out. So you have to do this, move the information from the screen, put in the CPU, flip the bit, and then move it back again. And the next instruction will show you how we can do it faster.
Okay. Next slide.
Can I chime in there? If I know this is not, we've not done this yet, but a lot of vector graphics, if you want like filled vector graphics, you make a wireframe and people actually use Eeyore to fill the vectors because the wireframe is your bit that's set, and the bits that are not set get EOR'd, so you fill the vectors. I don't know if that makes any sense.
I think so. So you're saying if you have like a white outline for a cube, the black center, because the center is all black, if you ER that, what was black becomes white.
Yeah, so you get a face.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
we already talked about that earlier. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Let's move
No,
on.
that's cool.
Let's move on.
Okay.
All right, because I wanted to stay on the point. You're interrupting in the middle of a point. See, there's a command called complement. Basically means flip the bits. It's kind of like automatically EOR all the bits. It's taking the bits and flipping them all. Now, unlike the previous ones we talked about, where they really only work on registers inside the CPU, the A and B register, this will work with a memory location. So if you are pointing to a location on the screen and you do complement that location, it flips all the bits. So it quickly grabs the information for the screen, flips it inside the CPU, and sends it back in one instruction. You don't have to do an instruction to load it, an instruction to flip it, and then an instruction to save it back. So this works very quickly to do this inverting on the screen that you're talking about, Steve.
Yeah. The one caveat of this one, though, is that it does the whole byte only. Like, you can flip the whole byte at once. You can't specify,
Exactly.
I only want the right half of the byte or the left half or whatever. That's the one restriction.
Okay, help me understand the definition of flip here. Is that the same thing as inverting, or is this like turning it up, making it?
This is flipping. Anything that was a 0 becomes a 1. Anything a 1 becomes a 0.
Okay.
And
Gotcha.
so it will flip or change the color on the screen extremely fast. So
Okay, so
Once
this is an EOR at a byte level that can go anywhere besides a register.
this is a full EOR where it's going to flip everything.
It's the equivalent of doing an EOR string FF, which means every single bit is set. So it's exclusive ORing the entire byte, all 8 bits only. You can't tell COM to only do certain bits in a byte. It always does the whole byte. But it's the same equivalent as an EOR FF, except it's faster and smaller.
Okay.
Yeah, and the thing is, when they were designing the 6809, the engineers really did talk to programmers about the type of thing they do and they want to do. Now, there's two philosophies in instruction sets. You want to sometimes bring information to the CPU, play around with it, send it back out. Other times, you want the CPU to be directed to do something to memory. And they knew that this flipping, this inverting of all the bits was going to be something very handy. So they made sure that it wasn't just a comp or complement A, complement B. They allowed you to complement to a memory location. And that would speed up the operation. In other words, I would say that using the complement instruction to flip the entire screen opposed to using the EOR would run at least not just twice as fast, maybe 3 times as fast to do it, because you don't have to bring the information in, flip it, and then send it back out again. In 3 instructions.
Right.
Instead, you're doing it in 1 instruction, so it's much faster.
Cool.
Yep. So very, very, very handy. And my examples down here, at least I got this one right without a typo, is comp A, comp B, and comp $7. Now you could probably tell with those 3 slides, I kind of duplicated the slide and was changing things. So sorry about that, folks. I'll make sure that Steve gets the typo corrected version so that when we put together these lesson plans that you can download from the web, it'll be correct. Sorry about that.
And the reason we brought it up is if anybody watches the video and doesn't have the lesson plan, and this is the way they're consuming it, that at least the corrections in the stream and are aware of it.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, we're on the next slide. The bit.
Okay. All right. So the bit command is very similar to the AND command. It works only on the A and B registers, though. And the difference is it only sets the 0 flag. It does not change what's inside A. The bit, in other words, the way to look at it, it's like a test. It's testing those particular bits to see if they're a 0 or a 1. once again, this would be very handy for that I/O port that's got all these different bits on there, besides looking at the status of the incoming RS-232 bit, if you want to see where you're at. So you would have the bit pattern set up so that the only bit that had a 1 was the RS-232 input. And you do this instruction, and lo and behold, the Z flag would be set if that bit was 0 and would not be set if it was 1. So you would be able to know whether or not the status of the RS-232 input port was high or low. Once again, I/O ports, very similar to the way they thought about memory. There's not many of them. It's very restrictive, and so we have to go down to bit level. That's why so many things are tagged in on the. Also, the other thing too is when we're building the color computer way back when, we used these PI, peripheral interface adapters, and they had 2 ports essentially on them, and for I/O, and you had 8 bits per port, and you didn't want to add chips just to do one function. That would raise the cost of the machine. So you try to put as much as you could on there. And by the way, the Coco used 4 ports or 2 of these chips for all of its I/O function, which includes the keyboard. But anyways, I think that one's pretty straightforward. It is doing the AND command without actually changing the stuff that's in the A or B register.
Yeah,
it only
that's really
shows
useful
zero
when you're
flag.
when you're handling hardware. Let's say you've like a PIA or something else where there's multiple bits that mean different things, and maybe depending if this bit set you want to go to this subroutine, if this other bit set you want to go to a different one. This allows you to load in the status register, for example, and then go through each of these checks saying, okay, this bit set, then I got to go here, this bit set. And it doesn't mean, or it means you don't have to reload the register to check the next one. Because if you did an AND and you masked off all the other bits, well, now you've destroyed the original content. So if that bit you were looking for the first subroutine was not set, now I got to reload it again to get it back. Well, in some hardware cases, as soon as you load it, it resets to whatever the next value is going to be. So you've lost that, permanently. You can't properly handle it. The bit command means you load it once and then you just keep checking the bits as you go through without having to reload it or resetting the hardware, etc. So it's very handy to have this command, especially dealing with I/O stuff.
Yeah, it can be sometimes a nightmare dealing with the peripheral interface adapters when you're dealing with interrupts and stuff like that. As what Curtis is pointing out here is that you read it, it clears the flag that told you what in the hell generated the interrupt, and it's just you don't want to keep doing that. So it helps, So the engineers, that back in Motorola, they made the PIAs in addition to the microprocessor, so things generally work hand in hand pretty well, and they give you instruction. And plus, the thing is, as a programmer, you don't want to have to keep reloading something over and over again. I go, didn't I just do this?
Yeah.
The bit command helps you from doing that quite a bit. Anyways, I think we've covered that. I mean, it does make sense, Steve, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think so. So you want to check. You want to check if bit 7 is on. The answer is going to be in the V.
You would have exactly. So what you would do in that particular case, you would say bit A, $%, 1 followed by another 8 zeros, 7 zeros. Excuse me,
7 zeros. Yeah.
And then it would the Z flag would be set or reset based on the status of that particular 1 bit. And of course, since you're looking at a bunch of bits there, you could check several bits to see if any of them got set. This is extremely handy for the keyboard, because before you do a keyboard read, you've got bits coming down from your keys, and if you could check all the bits at once. Another thing is, most people don't realize the same hardware that does the keyboard in the Coco does the buttons of the joysticks. And that can be an issue, because if you press a button on the joystick, it can screw up what you read on the keyboard. That's the reason why the keyboard stops working when you press a button. Now there are techniques to kind of get around some of this and like that, and we do it in video games. But man, it can generally be tough dealing with keyboards and joysticks at the same time.
Yeah, I think that was one of the things in Color Basic 1.0. If you actually pressed the joystick button, you saw a string of characters show up on the screen.
Yeah,
Exactly.
all seven bits coming back from the keyboard on that matrix row would come back and print on the screen, so you could add A, B, C, D, E, F.
Yeah. It's just being a cheap way to get the stuff in there. And now you see how hard it was to get joysticks working on the Coco? Now you see why they didn't put it on the MC10? Yes, I got to get my weekly dig into that MC10.
You got to get at least a couple because you haven't been on in a few weeks. So.
Yeah. But, yeah.
All right, so with this same command here, if I wanted to check, let's say I wanted to check the top 4 bits, I would do a bit of an address, and I would do like 4 ones and 4 zeros, and then the Z flag would tell me which bits were on, or would give me 4 ones if all 4 bits were on.
Well, what it would do is if any one of those bits was a 1, then it would tell you that.
Oh, so I couldn't compare multiple bits within a byte. It's just one single answer. It's just a 0, 1 is the output.
Yeah, you can check multiple bits, but your answer is based on that group of bits as a whole only.
Gotcha.
So as long as if any of one of those 4 bits in the example was a 1, then it would be a non-zero.
Yeah, basically in his example here, it's checking to see are any of the lowest 4 bits set. That's what it's returning your compare based on.
Yeah. It's just like the AND. If you AND it together, the answer would be all 0 unless any one of the bits in the A register in that lower 4 bits was a 1. If one of them was 1, then you would get a non-zero response. So you could look for a bunch of bits at once if they're all 0.
Yeah.
No, there is no command that does the same thing if you're looking for any of the bits were. They don't have a version of this that emulates the OR command.
Okay.
But most of the time, they felt this was very handy. As I said, again, this is a situation where the engineers knew that they had a limited number of instructions. Well, first of all, if you look at a single byte command, let's say that all the commands in the entire 6809 were just 1 byte starting, that was the command section. Well, you could only have 256 commands. Trust me, there's a lot more than 256 commands in the 6809 instruction set. So they have what they call alternate pages, and they kept, like 10 hex was what they considered an alternate page, and shifted the instruction a little bit. Instead of using one register group, it'd use another register group, or it'd be doing something else. Probably Curtis knows it more in detail because he loves playing with that stuff.
Well, 609 extended it further past that. Yeah, I'm quite familiar with it.
Exactly. So, that's the thing is, commands that were going to be used more, they kept it so that it only needed the first byte to figure out what the command is. But in the case of commands that probably wouldn't be used as much, they went to a 2-byte system just to get that extra number of commands that they needed. And, of course, part of it was they had to leave a few things out that make sense if they had put it in. And we're going to have one of those a little bit later that I'm going to harp about when we get into bit shifting. Speaking of which, let's go to the next slide.
I'm trying to. Hold on. Boom. Here we go.
Well, no, that's good. We had backed up. So one more.
Yep.
Bit shifting. Basically, we have sometimes when we're working with things, we have to move bits around within a byte, up or down. In other words, we got to make them so that they go up 1 row of bits or down 1 row of bits. And we'll get into exactly what that means in a moment. But there's 3 different styles. There's logical, arithmetical, and rotate. And they're all different ways of how you kind of shift information around inside of a given byte. And that's the thing is, With the 6809, we look at shifting things around a byte. And Curtis, I forget, the 6309, did they add 16-bit shifting?
Yes.
Okay. So we'll even emulate that on a 6809. Got to remember, this thing was designed, back before the 80s.
8 or 79, yeah, because it came out
Yeah.
in 79, I think, if I remember.
And a lot of the stuff was kind of new. I mean, it's amazing what these people were producing back in the day without a lot of computer. I mean, yeah, computers did help them. They had big mainframes and stuff like that, and many mainframes and such. But still, considering how little computing power they had available to them compared to today, what they were able to generate is amazing.
Yeah.
So, any case, let's go to the next slide. And what we're going to do is we're going to start with the logical shift to the left. This basically means that we're going to take every bit that's inside of a given byte and we're going to move it to the left. What that means is we're going to move it to a larger place. Bit 0 goes to bit 1. Bit 1 goes to bit 2, and et cetera across. And this only works, well, this works on the A and B register, also works on memory location. This is similar to that complement command where they knew this would be important and you'd probably play around with it and have to shift memory locations too. So why bring it into the A register, shift and send it back? We're going to give you the ability to do it directly on the memory location. Now, as I said, every bit is moved to the left or greater. That's what we mean by left. It means that we're basically 0 becomes 1, 1 becomes 2, and 7 goes out of the byte. And what we send into it, because it's logical, is we send in a 0. So bit 0 will always get a 0 as we shift in when we use this instruction. All the flags are going to get set like before, and in my example, if I got this example right, we have a pattern that I show of 4 1s and 4 zeros as a binary number.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you get done, it's going to be 3 1s and 5 zeros.
Right.
Because
the left bit got pushed off and then the right bit gets replaced with the 0.
And this is where binary mathematics come in very handy. Understand why the computer uses them. Because if you want to multiply this number by 2, you simply do a logical shift to the left. Think about it.
Yep.
I just multiplied that number by 2 by shifting it. This is faster in general cases than trying to do an add. Add a number to a number. That's another way you do a multiply by 2. And if you want to multiply by 4, you shift it one more time.
That goes in powers of 2s.
Exactly.
Right. That's how binary works. Yeah.
Yep. So, yeah, once you get used to binary and you see, how it works, you understand why a computer uses it and why it's so handy. So, how did I explain this one?
No, that one was real easy.
The one thing I want to point out is, and you mentioned on the slide here, is that the high bit, the one that's getting shifted out, goes into the carry, and that becomes critical for checking things. You can use that to check to see if the high bit's set, for example, without doing an AND. But also if you're doing longer multiply by 2s, etc., then the carry, definitely you need to keep track of that.
Yeah, you can see that the carry is not only used for doing mathematical stuff, such as you add 2 numbers and you get a carry. We remember all doing math by hand in school and like that. Of course, now we all use calculators, so why we do math by hand anymore, I don't know. Anyways, the thing is that, the carry flag is used to hang on that bit of information that would have been lost normally. And
I'm sorry to interrupt, but if bit 7 gets moved to the carry flag, does it occupy bit 7 location in the carry register?
Oh, no, the carry register is a single bit.
Oh, it's just 0, 1.
Yeah.
So it becomes true or false.
The carry bit is just 1 bit out of the condition code register.
Oh, so it's not a register.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, it gets thrown into the carry flag. And that way, you have a status of, what came out of it. And there are times that in bit manipulation and dealing with stuff, we actually will use this instruction just to get the status of that 7th most bit if we don't care what happens to the rest of the register, or if we're using something called data streams, we'll do this shift to get the information that we need out of the data stream. So like the stuff that's audio music, that's stored as a data stream. And we just shift the bits over. And it's this style of bit manipulation that's used to take something where in the bit stream might only be 5 bits. So we'll shift it over 5 times. And now we've got our 5 bits, but we still have the other bits in the data stream that we haven't wasted. So when we shift another 5 bits from the data stream, we'll get that. And this is part of the reason why bit manipulation is so important for microprocessors.
Okay.
All right.
Almost sounded like you said bit mutilation there for a second, but yeah.
If you do it wrong, that's probably
yeah. That's the thing is when the code's gone crazy, I've seen some weird stuff on the screen. And by the way, in Canyon Climber, you know how the screen shakes when you go up the canyon? That was due to an error in manipulation. Yeah.
Okay, mutilated.
I was manipulating the graphics mode, or I should say, he had hit the graphics mode and manipulate and go, ooh, that'd be a cool effect. Yep. Any case, if I haven't got you off of DEFCON 5, let's go to the next slide.
We're ready. Now we're going the other way.
All right. Yep. Logical shift to the right. This does exactly the opposite. It's going to take all the bits and slide them from the high to the low. It's going to shift in to the 7th bit as 0. In other words, just like we had the lower bit come in on the other side, it was a 0. We're shifting in the higher bit to the 0. So bit 7 goes down to 6, etc., where bit 1 goes down to 0, and bit 0 goes into the, what is it, Steve?
That's the compare.
No, carry flag.
The carry flag, yeah, carry flag. Right.
Goes in the carry flag. And so in my example that I have down at the bottom, we have 4 1s followed by 4 zeros. We do the shift and we get a 0 followed by 4 1s and 3 zeros. In other words,
yep. So this time what we're carrying is the low order bit instead of the high order bit.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so the carry in this case would be false.
That would
we're
be
just
clear.
moving a 0 into it.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, it shifts a 0 out into the carry, so the carry bit is now a 0.
Okay.
So we haven't lost the carry. You know, the least significant bit, the 0 bit, we haven't lost. It's holding the carry in case we need it. And this is also very handy to do a divide by 2. But I must clarify this. Before in one of our lessons, we talked about signed and unsigned numbers. This is very handy for an unsigned divide by 2. So, and in other words, normal math. Anyway, but you can divide number by 2, and you could figure out what the remainder is in the carry flag. Simple enough.
Yeah.
Straightforward. Let's go ahead and go to the next slide so we can get to a different style. Arithmetic shift to the left. This is the one I want to complain about. It is identical to, it is literally, physically, the same command as logical shift to the left. They just named it differently, but it's the same number. So
same opcode?
Same opcode. Same, it's physically the same command.
I think it's just to make it so that if you're thinking in terms of arithmetic shifts versus logical shifts, that you have the congruity of having both versions in your command set. But yeah, literally when you assemble it.
But this does not do a arithmetic shift to the left. It kind of does it, and when we get into the next slide, I'll explain why.
Okay.
Let's go to the next slide. All right, the arithmetic shift to the left. One of the things that it does, arithmetic shift to the right. Let me get that correct. I did a typo, just speaking. Anyways,
that's a Spico.
Yeah, it's a Spico. What it does is shifts all the bits to the right, similar to our logical shift right, except for one thing. Bit 7 does not move. it stays the same. While it may be copied from bit 7 to bit 6, bit 7 stays there. It does not change.
Okay.
The reason why you do that is bit 7 tells you whether or not the number is signed, if it's negative or positive. So you don't want to change or shift that bit. You want to hold on to the sign. So basically, bit 7 goes down to 6, 6 goes down to etc. all the way down. Where bit 1 goes to bit 0, and bit 0 goes in the carry. But the main thing is bit 7 doesn't change. It holds its position. And so in our example down at the bottom, we've got 4 1s followed by 4 zeros. When we do the shift, we actually get 5 1s
right,
and 3 zeros. And then the carry flag will get cleared because that was a 0 in the last bit. Now, this is very handy for doing a divide by 2 if it's signed.
Meaning you want to track if it's positive or negative?
Exactly. You want to hang to it.
And
Now,
the
here's
high order bit 0 would be negative, positive, and 1 would be negative?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this way it always keeps that signed bit. So if you're dividing by 2 with ASL, then it's basically treating it as assigned. So that top bit that says whether the number you started with was a positive or negative number stays the same. So if you take -4 divided by 2, it's -2. It's still negative. Whereas if you did a logical shift, which would throw a 0 in there, all of a sudden that bit changes. So if you tried to use that to do a sign divide, it would suddenly end up being -4 divided by 2 is +2, which is wrong.
Right.
And this is where I had the problem. Go back to the previous slide.
Okay.
Remember I said this is the same thing as the logical? The logical always takes the lower bits and moves them up higher, period. Yeah. So what's in bit 6 goes into bit 7. If this was used for arithmetic shifting of a signed number, whatever was in bit 6 would be copied into bit 7 and destroys.
So you couldn't track the positive or negative.
So when I say that I'm kind of upset about this one, they didn't do it right. The engineers messed up here. And I'm sure their software programmers are a little pissed at them, as I am, that they did not truly put a real arithmetic shift to the left instruction in.
It sounds like we need to get Alan Huffman to record a jingle for why did Motorola do that now? So.
You got it. You got it. So this is one of the really important things to understand is that while you can use this one to do signed information shifting down, that don't expect the arithmetically shift to the left to operate the way that the arithmetically shift to the right works.
Yeah, that makes no sense. You add the same commands, but one of them works properly, the other one doesn't.
Yeah, they should never put their put that in as a name for a command. It doesn't do what it's supposed to do. Right. So it's a beef I got with the processor, and it's the one that's kind of a gotcha for a lot of folks because they'll sit there and they'll do this and you go, wait a second, what happened to my sign? Why did my number go from negative to positive all of a sudden? It is something to be a watch for. So it's you got to be careful about that. In any case, we're getting close to being done here. We only have one last set of shifting instructions, and these are pretty handy too. These are rotate, and what's different about these is they're rotating through the carry flag. It is almost as if you're doing not an 8-bit rotate, but a 9-bit. They're considering the carry as part of the 9 bits of information in between the 0-bit and the 7-bit. Think about it like rotating in a circle, around a clock. So once again, these work on the A and B registers and a memory location. In this particular case, we're moving to the left. Every single bit moves to the left. The 0 bit, which is the rightmost bit, gets its information from the carry flag. And the 7th bit, when it gets moved out, goes into the carry flag. So no information's lost. See, like on the other one, you were always like shifting a 0 in. No, now you're shifting in the carry flag. So if we look at our example that I've got here, where you got 4 ones followed by 4 zeros, when you do the shift, you're going to get 3 ones followed by 4 zeros, and then whatever was in the carry flag will be moved into the bit 0. And this is really handy when you're dealing with numbers that are bigger than 8.
Okay.
If you have, let's go to the next slide because it really explains it well. Actually, one more. This is where I talk about this information where, you know how we've talked about before, the A and B register is really also the D register with them two combined together. It's a shorthand for the 16-bit of the two numbers. Well, if you wanted to, say, shift both of them and carry that information, you would do a logical shift on the B register, logical shift to the left B register. That would move a 0 in, but it would move the 7th bit into the carry. Then you would do a rotate to the left B, and that would rotate the carry flag in to the lower bit of the B register and move everything up. So this way you can shift the entire 16 bits of information without losing any of the bits. So this is where the rotate comes in. It allows you to use the carry flag to move information that would otherwise been lost. And I'm sure Curtis has spent a little time using rotates inside OS 9.
The beauty of it is that because it lets you rotate through the carry, no matter which direction you're going, you can move bits between bytes basically as you're going across, shifting. As Steve mentioned, that's good for doing the D register because you can only do rotates and shifts on 8-bit registers on the 6809. But this also works if you're on memory locations, like if you're dealing with fixed point numbers or 32-bit integers or something like that, like a 4-byte number, you can keep going across. You can go from the least significant byte and rotate it into the second least significant, then rotate into third, rotate into fourth. And there's no limit. You could do a number that's literally 64K long and divided by 2 by just rifling through and rotating all the way through. So you can do any kind of size of numbers this way. And this is used a lot in math routines. I can tell you, like Basic 9 uses it for integers. It does the 2-byte version. It uses it for the floating point, which is a 5-byte number. I think Basic, if James was here, somebody that's more familiar with Color Basic than I am, I'm pretty sure the floating point routines in Color Basic do this too, where it uses 5-byte rotates if you want to multiply a number by 2 or whatever.
Exactly. So, yeah, we're dealing with larger than 8 or 16-bit information, and it just allows us to shift it around. And there are times that I've used quite a bit in the video games where my position information is a 24-bit number. A good example of that was Axon. I'm flying around in space, and I have to figure out where I'm at. And trust me, 256 does not cut it. But the reason why I use 24 is I do fractions. The top 16 bits is the whole number. The bottom 8 bits of that 24-bit number is my fraction. And that allows me to have more smoothly moving things gracefully falling, stuff like that. But also in the case of Zaxxon, I was calculating a 3D environment, and then I converted it down to 2D for the graphic display. So the ship, when it was moving along that long fortress, it was moving thousands and thousands of dot coordinates as it moved along. It wasn't moving, something that could be held inside an 8-bit number. So yeah, it is. And sometimes there's these rotations you have to do in the calculation of the information, and the combination of logical and rotate allowed me to accurately do the calculations. By the way, for calculating the distance of a hypotenuse in things like Zaxxon and other games, there's no square root inside the 1609 processor. We're never going to cover that because it doesn't exist. And we all know that if you double A, double B, the square of one, square of the other, add together in square root, that gets you your hypotenuse. Well, there's another trick in math that you can do. If you take the longest distance of the side of the triangle, and you take the shorter side and divide that shorter side by 2, add them together, you are within 10% of the actual hypotenuse, which is good enough for compares of collision. And
I actually made a spreadsheet recently just to check that out. Smaller values of the small value are a little bit over, but everything else falls right in place between them.
but it's within 10%, so it's good enough. It's good enough for video game work. Anyways, the thing is, how do I get half of a number? I do shifts. I do my shifts and rotates. Shift to the right, I get my half number so much faster than trying to calculate a square root.
Yeah. One other thing I want to point out too is this is really handy for doing things like screen scrolling. Because if you want to say take a P mode 4 screen, which is 1 bit per pixel, and you want to shift the whole screen to the right or a chunk of the screen to the right or the left, you do the logical shift and rotates to go through so it carries it through the bytes. And then you can actually shift portions of the screen left and right on a pixel level. So it's very handy for that kind of thing too.
And that's part of what I wanted to really say about this lesson is you can just see how much we bit manipulate a byte to get the stuff to do things on the CoCo. It's everything from I/O to graphics on the screen. It's this is why they put this stuff inside the CPU, because they know that you're going to do a lot of bit twiddling.
Yeah. But graphics is one place where you really use this a lot, because I mean, if you're drawing a font that doesn't fit on an even byte boundary, or you want to shift part of the screen left to right, or it's just all kind of, or manipulating large numbers. I mean, all that stuff is done through bit shifting. So these are used actually quite a bit. You're drawing fonts on the screen on a high res mode. That's exactly how it does it.
Yeah. So, we may start off this lesson where some people say, why would I want to learn about bit shifting or bit twiddling? Well, you're starting to learn just how much you're going to be doing that. You're going to be twiddling your bits.
Twiddling your bits.
Like you're twiddling your bits, like you're twiddling your thumbs. You're going to be twiddling bits. Let's go back one slide because I do want to cover the rotate right. It's almost identical, except for we're going the other direction of the previous one. Like before, you can do it on the A and B register, and you can do it on the memory location. As you can see, this designers of 1609 said this would be an important instruction where you would want to do it directly to the memory, not have to bring everything into the A and B register to manipulate it. Everything gets rotated to the right. The carry bit gets moved into the 7th bit all the way down. And then finally, when the 0 bit, that gets moved into the carry flag. So you're set there. And as our example before, we're looking at the 4 ones followed by 4 zeros. That would become the carry flag, whatever was status was there, followed by 4 ones, followed by 3 zeros. And then the carry flag would have been cleared. So simple, straightforward. They just go in the different directions. If anything else in this lesson that I hopefully got through to you, arithmetically, shift to the left does not work.
So just ignore it.
Yeah, just never use that mnemonic. Never use that command, and you'll be fine. I just had to talk about it because every single reference you're going to find on the 6809 talks about that instruction. It's not there. It doesn't exist.
Actually, Dave Phillipson just pointed another reason for bit shifting. We've covered that. It covers in graphics and doing streams of data. Compression, decompression uses it a lot. And he mentioned bit shifting is also used to reassemble the bits that come in from the bit banger port, like if you're doing a serial port, like with a modem or something.
Yep.
Because you only get 1 bit at a time. So how do you build your byte? Well, you load the bit in, you shift it in, and then you shift in the next bit. You keep building your bits up until you got a full byte. Then you can store the byte in memory. I've got my ASCII character that came from, Neil's BBS or something like that, and you just keep repeating that over and over.
Yeah, and the thing too is, even in modern computers, we found that it's actually faster to stream data. Your serial ATA drives are on your computer.
Mm-hmm.
They use serial. That's the whole thing. They use serial data, and because they're a simple serial line, they could actually transfer the data faster than the old style ATA drives, which were parallel.
Mm-hmm.
It's just that they could streamline how they could do the information, clock the data even faster, and boom. I mean, if you look at the difference between the size of the cable on a serial ATA and the old-fashioned ATA, one's a big fat thick ribbon
Yeah.
cable that's got interference and capacitance issues, and I could go through all the time. I could go through all the engineering things that are just so screwy, trying to make it go faster and faster. And then they finally said, "Oh God, this is not going to work." They came up with serial ATA because the old system was just pure trash, trying to go that fast. So
It always fascinated me because when I first started learning about this kind of stuff, I always thought parallel would be way better. Because I mean, if I want to write a byte to a printer, why wouldn't I just write 1 byte rather than have to send out 8 individual bits? Because it makes sense. I mean, that instruction's faster. But you got to remember, at the hardware level, you've got to sync those bits. You can't have bit 7 showing up a couple microseconds too late, because now it's on the next byte to the printer. You just scrambled all your data. Now you're trying to print a capital A and you've got a capital Z or something, or Z.
Exactly.
Also,
I mean,
physical limitations.
Yeah, with serial, you always know you only have 1 bit. So if it's an on or off, you can, hammer that thing as fast as you want almost, because it's always going to be unique. And you just get the transition states you have to clock. With parallel, you got to keep all 8 or 16 or 32, depending how wide your parallel is. They have to be kept in exact sync with each other. Otherwise, you start scrambling your data.
Exactly. And it also with serial, it makes it easier to do error correction too.
Yeah.
Which is the key to making some of this stuff work. By the way, if you ever looked at a truly modern spinning hard drive, 20% of the data they're getting off the hard drive is actually an error. It's the error correction that makes it work.
ECC.
So yeah, because basically, they're writing the information so close to each other, they get failures all the time, and it can be up to 20% coming off the hard drive is a failure. But because of the error correction, it corrects it and gets it back working. In other words, if it wasn't for the fact that serial, the fact that you had error correction, which it just won't work. I know we've gotten off our subject here a little bit, but it's just shows how important serialized data is, and rotation of data and manipulation of it like that is a key component. Anyways, let's see, where are we at? Okay, so we've done the right. We've talked about that slide already, so let's move on to the next one, which is very simply, now that I got at least Steve up to a 4 on the DEF CON, I think we should stop here. And next lesson, we're going to go through and see how you can get your program to make decisions. And it's really going to be based on what we've covered so far between math and bit emulation. Those two things put together is how the computer will decide to do something. And yeah, believe it or not, those decisions allow us to make the games, or do the finances, or do all the fun stuff that you do on a computer. And if it wasn't for the fact that the computer did some sort of thing with making decisions, well, it'd just be a calculator.
All right, so I just want to make sure we are not talking about bit mutilization, right?
Right. Well, sometimes what I've seen people do is for what they call a game is it definitely falls in that category.
Okay. We want to manipulate our bits. We want to fiddle our bits. We can shift our bits. We can fiddle our bits, but we are not going to mutilate our bits. So,
Now, is there any questions from the people on the panel right now or in the chat that aren't assembly language programmers by trade type thing? That is
right. Well, what I would say we should do before we do that, let's take a quick break. And also, we have it looks like David Ladd and Grant Leedy are together in the same place. I've been noticing that their cameras are now in sync, and so I think Grant actually went to go visit David. So I think there's a little bromance going on here.
Really, Steve? Really?
Did Grant bring his buffing pad is my question.
Now we've got twice the David Ladd. Look at this. We got David in here twice.
Put on your stereoscopic goggles, people.
Yeah, we could never get him on video, and now we got double. I'm saying double vision.
Double the David Ladd. So
we shifted him left, and we left him in the carry, so now we've got both of them there. So.
Yeah, after the last 2 weeks I've had, I've been having a lot of double vision. So yeah.
Jeez.
All right, so good. So we're going to save the questions We're going to take a quick commercial break, and then we'll come back. But we have Grant and David are together, reunited, and it feels so good.
Oh, God.
Jesus. Where's that mute button?
And then we will take questions and comments from the panel and from the people watching at home and stuff like that. Thank you, Steve. Actually, I followed almost everything. Fortunately, I do have a somewhat grasp on binary, so it's easy for me to see how these zeros and ones were kind of going round robin here. What do you keep holding up there, Mark Overholzer? Is that... Oh, okay. It's a tablet. Okay. For a minute, I thought it was like an 8-inch floppy or something you had there. So weird. All right. Cool. All right. So we're going to take a quick commercial break. Maybe not so quick. Who knows? But we'll take a brief break, and then we'll be back, and then we'll cover questions and comments on bit manipulation, and we'll see David Ladd in stereo. David and Grant. All right. So we'll be right back. Thank you, Steve Bjork. Thank you. You're too kind. All right. So we'll be back in just a minute.
Hi, it's Curtis Boyle, part of the CoCoTALK crew of people, and a lot of us are here down at the Cocoa Fest, having a great time. It's the second day, and we're just about done, so you guys have to come out next year.
Commodore.
Hey everybody, this is Bill Noble, co-author of Nitrous 9. You are listening to CoCoTALK Live, the leading live CoCoTALK show.
Good day, mates. This is Nick Marionettes, author of such color computer titles as Donut Disaster, Rupert Rhymes, and Rockstar Pilot. And I am here today to tell you about the world's most fabulous operating system, OS 9. OS 9 and its current incarnation, Nitrous 9, is the most advanced operating system ever created. And what makes it so good? Ease of use. I find OS 9 so incredibly intuitive that I haven't once cracked open the user manual, and yet I've been able to create such incredible games faster than the time it takes to sing Waltzing Matilda. Using OS 9, I expect my next game, Funstar, will be done this weekend and distributed exclusively on ROM cartridge. OS 9 forever.
Any resemblance to actual events to persons living or dead is purely coincidental.
What's going on, everybody? The original gamer Stevie Stroh here, and I want to talk to you about I'mACoconut.com. If you love the color computer like I love the color computer, then you got to visit I'mACoconut.com, your one-stop shop for all of your Tandy color computer links needs. There you'll find links to blogs and podcasts and project sites and emulators and downloads and groups and communities. If you love the color computer, head on over to I'mACoconut.com. That's IMACoconut.com. Tell them the original gamer Stevie Stroh sent you. Cocoa forever, people.
It's a Radio Shack Merry Christmas.
This year, I needed to give a real family pleaser.
Honey, please help me with this budget.
I love this commercial. This is this year I need to shut my family up.
Radio Shack's Color Computer 2. On sale.
Whiny kids and the nagging wife. Give them a computer and shut them up.
Manage it. It's expandable.
A computer and a cone of silence.
Now that really pleases me.
Daddy, I wanted
Color
a
Computer
Nintendo.
2.
Yeah,
Sale price
you
for Christmas.
suck.
Only at Radio Shack.
All right, we are back after a brief commercial announcement, and no DEF CON was reached by me. We stayed at DEF CON 5 the whole time. Simon Jonason has joined us. Hello, Simon. Welcome to the program. Glad to have you here. We've got David Ladd and Grant Leedy, cats and dogs, living in harmony, mass hysteria. What's going on, David and Grant? What are we reporting right now? How are things at Mickey
David's
D's?
video. No.
I was going to say, is it a meeting of the anti-mullet club because they have no hair? Or?
Podcast title should be Twice the David Ladd.
Yeah, twice the David Ladd. Yeah, I tried to squeeze that in here. So
I have all their hair.
Really?
yes, double David.
There's their videos.
It's DDL, double David Ladd.
Could I just say something about manipulation?
Yes, please.
It's a transitive
so
verb.
you like double dipping then, Stevie?
Put on your 3D glasses now.
Yes.
Where
Double
in
the-
Iowa are you?
hopefully nowhere in Iowa.
We're in Omaha, Nebraska at the moment.
You're 90 minutes away from me.
Well, if you get there quick enough, then there may be a fry left.
I am just north of you.
Double the David Ladd. All right, so Grant, you are actually with David right now?
Yes, I am.
Excellent, excellent. All right, and what's on the menu? What's good today?
What do you call the show?
Double Big Mac.
Double Big Mac. All right, so there's Grant. So is everybody at the Mickey D's there watching CoCoTALK with you guys? Have you got us up on one of the big screens or anything?
I think we scared everybody away. There's nobody in here hardly at all.
There's at least 2 people at that McDonald's watching CoCoTALK.
At least 2.
Now you just need to take over all their order to display screens and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Grant, how much have you lost now?
70 pounds.
Wow.
Yeah, Davis could hardly recognize me when I walked in. He's like, "You lost a lot."
That's my dog.
That's your dog.
I could make a comment.
Go ahead.
Please don't.
Go ahead, David. As David sips on his diet.
with half water and everything.
It's a David Ladd. Half Diet Dr. Pepper, half water.
Yeah. It's like Arnold Palmer had a drink named after him. David Ladd's got one, too.
It's like he ordered a Dr. Pepper, bit shifted it to the right, so it's half the size of
Way to call it back.
All right, so getting back to Curtis's question right before the break. For those of you who are not fluent in binary, for those of you who do not often fiddle your bits and twiddle your other things, any questions, comments?
Any clarifications needed?
Yeah.
Any DEFCON 1s?
Anyone? No?
Manipulation is a transitive verb.
A transitive verb, meaning that it's in motion?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
What are you, an English major? Or?
No, I have Merriam's dictionary up here.
Well, it's just not a transient.
Look it up.
I learned never to cross the streams and never
And that
to skip to the left.
That's right. So the arithmetic, the ASL doesn't work, right? The arithmetic, is that a word? Arithmetic.
That sounds dirty.
That's like testes 1, 2, 3. Huh?
All right. At least I didn't get a Coco STD. So.
Hey, Rick, back in the early days when you're first learning about all the shifting around, did you run into what I talked about with the arithmetic shift to the left? How, hey, this doesn't work.
Refresh my memory. It was like shift to the left, and then like the bit would be lost.
Well, yeah, that's the thing is arithmetic is supposed to keep the sign bit signed whatever it was. In other words, the 7th bit never shifted; it stayed the same. And,
oh, right.
Yeah, and that's the thing is where the arithmetic shift to the right works, where the bit stays the same. But since they said, oh, well, we just won't put that command in. Not that many people use it. But because people like to expect to see it there, we'll call the logical shift to the left the same thing as arithmetic shift to the left.
Right.
Yeah.
I just read the directions and, I knew what it did. So.
Yeah, it's just.
That's a fake news instruction is what that is.
Yeah, I seem to remember also reading an article in some magazine that was talking about the 60-line instruction set, and the person was a little peeved at that too. It's like, it was definitely the engineers cutting corners.
Yep.
So
I love the bit about we only need a 64K address space because it doesn't make any sense to have a $20 processor controlling $10,000 worth of memory.
Yep. Well, even IBM had that mentality.
That was delightful.
When they developed the original PC, IBM PC, they designed it to access a maximum of 640K. because they were shipping the machine with 64K. Well, we would never need more than 10 times the amount of memory that's on this computer. And sure enough, it didn't take long before people had to, and I know Stevie knew about this and dealt with it, going through and setting up high memory so they could get their video games to operate.
Oh, yeah.
Because
Yeah.
those stupid video game programmers used every bit that was on a normal computer, but if you added a particular IO card to your computer and it needed a little memory for buffer, all of a sudden those video games didn't have enough memory.
Conventional RAM.
Yeah,
That was the key.
Memory has always been the pain in the side. I mean, every time I develop a game, I'm going, gee, I got to make it work in this. And, and when you start talking about things like the console stuff, every video game, 60th of a second, you could only transfer information of what is going to be updated that video game frame in the VBlank. And the VBlank would only let you do 550 to 6,000 bytes of data update per frame. I mean, that was the limit because you could not talk to video game memory during when the graphics processor was using it to display the graphic screen. So you could only use it during this VBlank period where it was turned off. And if you accessed it, you literally, the screen went blank. And, you know, so it's everything was like limit of how much information you could update, how much information you had to update. It's limits. Nowadays, people just waste memory like crazy.
Richard had to go. Okay, I wasn't sure if Richard was going to be showing something off with his super high-powered magnifying lens, but Richard Lorbieski had to leave us. Goodbye, Richard. Eddie Serbinski had to go in the live chat. So did Davey Mitchell. Yeah. No, it's pretty cool. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
You're when you're dealing with binary, because I've been teaching IP subnetting for so long, I kind of understand relative meaning of bits. So that's not a foreign concept to me.
Or the fact of data streaming.
Well, I didn't understand the science. I understand what data streaming is, but I didn't understand the science behind it. So
yeah.
Yeah, that's cool stuff.
Yeah.
What is we holding up here, Ron Delvo?
It's the 7th bit by Russell Brand.
Oh, okay. He's a funny guy. The 7th bit. Any other feedback or any other value added comments on the whole assembly section there?
Did anybody else see anything else that we should talk about?
And
from the comments, because I wasn't monitoring those.
Oh man, there was so much going on. I'm going to back scroll here for just a minute.
I was just wondering, what we may have to do is next time I do a lesson, take one of you guys out there on the panel and have you monitor the comments.
Okay, so earlier when you were talking about the difference between bit shifting and bit rolling, Paul Fiscarelli says bit shifting can't hold a candle to bit rolling.
Well, it can hold a carry bit.
And then Rob Inman was wanting to know, are we going to have a bit twiddling after dark tonight? So that's that's always a possibility. Earlier, Dave Phillipson, which Curtis had mentioned, was mentioning that you could use this bit shifting to reassemble bits that come in from the bitbanger port, which is basically a serial to parallel conversion, or vice versa, parallel to serial. Eddie Serbinski said, thank you, Steve and Curtis. I'm assuming he means Steve Bjork and Curtis Boyle. David Mitchell said these lessons are very valuable. When we're talking about serial versus parallel, Paul Fiscarelli says it seems like serial can run at a faster frequency. Coco Man says you can shift your bits and fiddle your bits, but you can't fiddle your friend's bits. So
I would never want to do that.
Paul Fiscarelli says by comparison, serial is significantly higher and reliable at higher frequencies than parallel. Okay.
Yeah, one thing I wanted to say to it, look at what they did with USB. USB is universal serial bus, and it's so information, and it keeps getting faster and faster. And I've got an old workhorse, let's see, HP laser printer 6P that I've had 20 more years, I don't know. And it's got the old-fashioned Centronics parallel port on there, and it takes forever to download a page from PDF into the thing. But my USB stuff, lightning fast, lightning quick. It just
Right.
shows that going serial has its advantages.
Yes, it does. Yeah, it's just come full circle, because there was a time in the days of the old 8-bit PCs where for a while the parallel port seemed like a faster way to communicate than the serial port did when we were measuring things in,
Yeah, because you could basically do the
kilobits per
writes
second.
One
Yeah.
shot, but as the hardware got faster and faster, it became harder and harder to clock it and keep in sync. And then they discovered going back the old way, your speed limits were a lot higher.
Well, the other thing too is you had 8 wires traveling out with grounds on them like that. The propagation delays, capacitance, and other issues of all that cabling slowed down the data. And they found, gee, if you had a single wire, man, you could send that fast.
Yeah, and length of cable, that was a big one. Like in our old plant there, we had parallel printers, high speed 300, 600 line per minute ones. And we also had serial terminals running at 48 or 9600 baud throughout the plant. And parallel cables, you could only go so long before it did start losing sync and you get scrambled data. And the serial ones, we had like 200 feet long cables going out, through the roof and up into the press area. And those terminals never had problems with that for the exact same reason.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah. I mean, as an engineer in the old days, I thought parallel, bee's knees, greatest thing, faster data, stuff like that. But then when we really started clocking fast, I had to sit there and say, nope, we got to go serial. We can make this cable simpler, lighter, cheaper. It's kind of like the $6 million man. And,
right.
Make them stronger, faster.
The word for today is propagation.
Yeah.
Propagation.
Yeah. Propagation delays. By the way, just to show you how important propagation delays are, the Cray computer, how it was so fast, it actually used propagation delays, how long it takes for electrons to flow from one point to another to do its high-speed mathematical calculations. They literally would put in wires a exact centimeter in size to do the calculation.
Wow.
So they're using the thing that was keeping us from going faster to make the computer faster.
Cool.
That's hard to get your head around.
DEFCON 3.
Yes.
By the way, if you've ever seen a picture of a Cray computer, it's built in a semicircle, and it actually looks like you've got things you can sit on that are in front of it. Those were the cooling units. But the reason why they did it in a semicircle, it made the interconnection of the wires shorter.
Okay. Shorter bus, less. Yep. Very cool stuff. All
I
right.
got to play it with a Cray a few times. It was neat.
Did you? Do they make a lot of noise? There are a lot of fans.
Well, there's a lot of cooling going on. That's what's down below. Usually in most computer labs, the cooling's like maybe even in another room. And you've got the raised floor, not just to run the wires, but also to run all the cooling ducts.
Wow. Yeah.
I got to play with some interesting stuff at JPL.
Neat. To change the subject here for just a minute, we have a couple of things coming on in the chat here. So number one, still on topic, Dave Phillipson was saying that if you look at HDMI, it's kind of a hybrid of serial and parallel. There's 3 or 4 serial channels in the data stream on HDMI. Now, Dr. X0079 is now asking us, has any of us heard of the Fujitsu FM77, because it has 2 6809 CPUs in it?
Yes, and it runs OS 9 beautifully.
It's like double David Ladd. We got double 6809. So you get some double floppies in there, and I think David would be a happy guy. Quad floppies.
Yeah. And Jim Brain is actually working on a multi 6809, 6309 board for the Coco 3 as well. So
what better than a brain to be working on it?
Very cool. All right, so do we want to now, Nick Marentes, do you have a core dump that you want to share with us?
No, not today. I've been too busy with other things to think of anything.
So one of the tools
We're hearing David talking about tools. Dave and Grant are talking about their tools right now. I guess they've been bit shifting and bit fiddling under the table there. So,
what did I say earlier in chat?
You can fiddle your bits, but you can't fiddle your friends' bits. You guys missed that message.
He didn't mention spooning this time.
Oh my god, Stevie! I'm kicking your butt in 2 weeks. You're
Parallel spooning or serial spooning?
All right. So Curtis, you mentioned you have a newsworthy item. So do we want to go ahead and jump into some news, and we'll lead in with Curtis Boyle and what's new with him? Does that sound good to you, Curtis?
Sure.
All right. Well, before we do that, how about we play a little Curtis Boyle music here? And I'm hoping I have the right buttons here. This is either going to be Curtis Boyle or CoCoTALK. We'll find out here.
Was it siren?
As long as it's not the puking sound.
Okay. Well, we're not quite ready for news yet, so here we go. There we go. There's our little music segment there. Whoops, wrong button.
I didn't hear Myro in that one.
No Myro in that one. All right, Curtis. So.
Okay, so just this morning, and I did a bit of work on it last night. I promised that I would get the Beta 1 ease of use project out as of the end of August. Well, I missed it by a day because I've been too busy with work, and I kind of forgot Friday, the 31st of August, when I was planning on releasing it. Happens to be month end and weekend, so I had invoicing and I had payroll and a bunch of other crap I totally forgot about up until it hits, so I didn't get it done until this morning. But basically, the Beta 1 has been released, 6.809 and 6.9 versions with docs in them. It's on the FTP site. If you're on Discord, I hopefully did this right. One of you guys can check. The Ease of Use Nitrous 9 chat group, which was semi-private before, should now be public. And it has pinned instructions at the top of how to get the current release for both 6.809 and 6.9.
Does it require manipulation?
Yeah, you have to twill some bits off the internet onto your Coco. So, but basically, it doesn't have as much stuff as I'd originally planned because work hit too hard too fast, and I've got a whole list of there's bugs that have been found by Mikey and a few other people too that I haven't had a chance to fix those yet. Bill got the fix done for GraphDrive. I didn't get a chance to test it properly, so I didn't put it in this one. But basically, rather than keep postponing it until my work runs out, because I still got a few more weeks left, I decided just to release it, and we'll have a Beta 2 probably out in October. That should fix a lot of these other outstanding bugs and add some other features. But there's new games on it, set up and ready to go. There's some sound sampling stuff in there. There's a patch to Basic 9 that James Jones had found that was a really quick fix, so that has been fixed. It was an absolute.
Are the Sierra games fixed yet?
No, that's one of the things I haven't got a chance to get to yet. So there's quite a few things. My list is probably about 5 screens long of stuff I want to do, but and Bill's starting to help out more with it too. So I'm hoping we can get these out a bit more rapidly once my work schedule's back to normal. But basically, the release is out. I want feedback, so the Discord is probably the best way to do that. If you can check the ease of use chat page, list any questions you have, list any problems you find. Go through the docs first, though, because I do mention some things that are known bugs that I haven't got a chance to get to yet. So I don't want people just to repeat stuff that I already know is bad. But just general feedback and see if you guys think we're going the right direction, if it looks like it's actually improved at all, that kind of thing. So that was the announcement anyway. I'm hoping to get the second beta with a lot more fixes out sometime in October.
Excellent.
Does it say what beta has changed on the front when you first boot it? Does it say alpha or beta something?
Geez, I hope I remember to do that. I was kind of rushing it out this morning. I'll have to check. I might have to change that if I didn't. But
okay,
the docs in there do say beta 1, so you'll see in the zip file.
And this is now public beta. Because before the alpha versions were kind of closed to a handful of people.
Semi-closed. I mean, basically, if you volunteered, we throw you on the list. But I wanted to have people that were a mixture during the alpha parts of it, where I had a mixture of people that were familiar with OS 9 and people that were not familiar with OS 9. You try to cover both bases. I'm trying to add some stuff that's technical to it that will help programmers. And I also want a lot of stuff with G Shell, so it's easy for beginners. So we're trying to cover both bases here. And the alpha was I was trying to get a mix of comments. We did have some people that gave us some good feedback and stuff here too, but I need more of the beginners now, in particular, to start feeding back, and I just need a wider range of people because I mean, people were getting busy and they wouldn't be able to test stuff out. David has been, has had time constraints, and I've had time constraints, and Bill's had time constraints. So I just need more feedback. So that's the reason it's going public, even though this wasn't quite where I wanted it at. It's
okay. So we're now crowdsourcing more
Feedback,
debugging
yeah.
and what's the feedback and stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah, sounds good. And I know there were a handful of people who've been anxiously waiting in that they've been wanting to get their hands on the ease of use. So there you have it. Ease of use, everybody. It is out. It is ready. You can get it and get the information off of Discord. If you're not on Discord, well, there's a link to the Discord server here. And check it out. Get on our Discord server. It's good stuff.
Yeah, eventually I'll put it on the list in Facebook too, probably later today if I get time. But if I don't, if anybody else wants to, relay the information to everybody on those other social networks, then please do.
There you go. Share it out. Sharing is caring.
I'm looking now at the Discord website, just trying to find out where to download it.
Yeah, click on the pin on the top.
I clicked on the pin. I got pin messages from David Ladd.
Yeah, and there should one is the FTP site address and the password to get onto it to download the.
Right. Yep. No worries. Found it.
Okay.
I'll try that.
So
Ease of use for Nick apparently involves not reading directions. You must take after Stevie that way.
No,
So,
it's a whole lot of numbers and weird words. Why don't you just have a click to download?
Yeah, so it looks like everyone has been added to that. So
I did do it right. Okay, I'm not that familiar with Discord, so I wasn't sure if I did that right.
Yeah, I think so. So basically, there's a group that's called Ease of Use Nitrous 9, and it's Nitrous 9 EOU. And then somewhere on the top of the screen here is a little pin marker. It says pinned message. If you click on that, here it is FTP download area. So, okay, which I won't leave up on the screen. But, so yeah, if you click on the pinned message, you'll get information on how to reach it from FTP. I don't know if you could just zip it up and drag it in as an attachment to, I don't know how big the disk image is at this point. So it's a hard drive
It's
image,
a hard
right?
drive image, yeah. So, I mean, it zips to 100 and some odd meg, or 60 some odd meg, I think.
Okay, that might
too
be
big for
getting,
some
that might
emails.
be getting a little bit too big, yeah. And for, I know you can drag an attachment directly into the message of Discord, but I believe that's limited to about maybe 50 megabytes too. So
Yeah,
there's
I
a
might
limit.
eventually put it on as a web link too, so you can just go to a part of my website and just right click save as save as.
Yes. So ease of use is out, and you can get it. Good times, good times.
If you guys want, if you guys have had a chance to try it by next week, maybe we can do a quick little demo of some of the new stuff on it, and you guys can give me some live feedback next week as to what you thought or any issues you hit or etc.
Yeah, and if anybody's in the panel who wants to volunteer to be a correspondent on it, or anybody watching live, if you want to go ahead and get it and say, hey, I'm going to give you guys a review for next week. No, it's no longer a closed beta. It's public beta. So if you're in Discord, Paul Fiscarelli, you can get the link to it there from Discord. So it's now public beta. Anybody can download the disk image. It's a hard drive image. What are you targeting right now? Coco SDC and like emulators, right, for this hard drive image?
Yeah.
As long as you're a member of the public.
Yeah. We're going to have it SDC. We're basically limiting the hardware setup on it until the debugging is basically done, because it's a lot easier to debug if you've only got one base system to worry about, instead of having people with different drivers and different pieces of hardware and different hard drives and different floppies, and some are running them on Raspberry Pis or whatever. Like, I want to keep it limited until we get most of the big bugs that are system wide out, and then we'll start releasing the specific hardware model versions of it, and then we can start getting feedback on those if there's specific problems to a certain platform or a certain type of hard drive setup or something. But for now, we're keeping it simpler, where it's basically MAME, VCC with some caveats on the 609 side, which you can read about the docs, or a real Coco 3 with an SDC. 512K required, I should mention. That's one change from the original OS 9, because it was really crippled when you're running 128.
There's a few people in the live chat saying they can't see it. So if you're in the Discord server, it's almost all the way towards the bottom. And almost all the way towards the bottom. Where the hell is it now? Okay, it's called Ease of Use Nitrous 9. I'm trying to look at the permissions. It's looking like read messages. We need to be okay. They weren't able to read messages, send messages. Okay, so for the text permissions, the everyone group wasn't actually Send.
I thought I set those. Did I maybe forget to save changes on? Because I did change those.
Read message history. Mention every. Hold on, I'm fixing the permissions right now.
Okay, I had done this, but I forgot to click save changes when I was done.
Okay, so I have just.
There it is.
There it is. Okay, so check it again.
My apologies. I'm not that familiar with Discord.
we just fiddled some bits on the permissions here. So I did a rotate left, and I've switched them from off to on, and hopefully you guys can see it. I don't know if you'll need to log out and log back in of Discord for that to happen, but
no, you didn't rotate. You Eord.
Eeyore, there you go. I flipped them.
Toggled. That's
toggled the bits. I toggled my bit. I flipped my bit. All right. So Tom C says now I can see it. So Paul can see it. Tom can see it. There we go. The bits.
My apologies to everybody there. I had done this because I did not change it, but I probably forgot to click save changes because I was on the phone with a client trying to rush to the show. So
sure you did.
Well, I was going through and I was looking for it too, and I'm going, okay, there's so many damn things up here now. You can't find anything. That's what it is. It was just lost in the forest.
Ease of use.
Speaking of which, isn't that where our other Canadian is today? Lost in the forest?
Yes.
Yeah, in the Forest of Doom.
Yes. So an ease of Discord is what we're now working on. EOD, the Ease of Discord edition.
Speaking of which, real fast, one suggestion. All the voice channels, they should be put at the bottom because people that come new, they think the voice channels are chat
the text chats. Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, they should go to the bottom.
All right. I'm going to see if I can do. What would that be? Would that be an or?
Oh,
an
don't do it during
Eeyore?
the show. Don't do it during the show. Just sometime later today. Just move all those to the top, all the way to the bottom.
There you go.
And we'll get less people that are away from keyboard.
That's a flipping of the bits of the channels there. Flipping of the channels. So, cool.
Just quickly, you've got on that FTP site, there's like a bucket load of versions on there. This is Alpha 3 or Beta 1?
Beta 1.
Beta 1, so it's the very bottom one.
The versions are Alpha 1, Alpha 2, Alpha 3, Beta 1, and I'm leaving the old versions up there for regression testing. So if a bug shows up between...
Can you make a folder, put old versions, and just have the current version to be the first thing you look at? I mean, someone who's not who is a novice at OS 9 says, "Oh, geez, I have to download all these." So
yeah, I can make a folder for like older versions, I guess. Or like
put all the old ones in there. If you want the old ones, they're there. But for the novice, what they see, that's the one they get. 6309 version, obviously.
Hey, Nick. So Grant and David are at McDonald's. Would you like fries with that order? Would you like to supersize that request?
Can they fiddle some bits for me?
Fiddle some bits.
Yeah, the reason we're keeping the old versions, though, like I said, is for regression testing. So if a bug shows up between versions, people, rather than just instantly saying there's a bug, they can go back to the previous version and try that, whatever caused the problem. And if it goes away, then I know to look that the code I've changed between versions is what's causing the problem. If you go back through them all and discover the bug's been there the whole time, it could be a Core Nitrous 9 problem, which David and I discovered before I got busy with work, like the joystick or the mouse cursor not being able to go to the bottom 8 lines on a 200-line screen has actually been in Nitrous 9 since I don't know when yet. Between 2.01 and 3.30, I didn't go back further than that, but it's been in all of the ease of use betas because it was based on the Nitrous 9 3.3 code branch, and that bug was introduced at some time between 2001 and 2015. So that's one I'm tracking down, and hopefully we'll have fixed in beta 2. But that kind of testing, at least we can get some of the people helping run it and try it out can actually give me some further information saying, you know what, this bug only showed up between Alpha 2 and Alpha 3, or Beta 1 and Beta 2 or something. And that narrows down where I have to look for that bug and should speed up bug fixes.
Okay. So put the old versions on the top and the new version on the bottom. So when Nick's on the bottom of the world, he'll see the new version first too. So
that's how he's got it at the moment. The old version.
I think it's just an alphabetical sort. I don't know if you have to keep directory with a sort by date, it might be better.
But make a folder, put the old versions, and we clearly know that they're all the old versions.
Just because you're a legendary game designer.
Use.
Yeah, you're just becoming a diva now, Nick. So.
Yeah. He may be an expert game programmer, but he sucks at the English, like
alpha, beta.
So I don't know why that's so hard. It's like saying, is 3 greater than 2? I don't know.
That's when you shift your bits.
Yeah, that's it. Shift your bits. Shift your bits into high gear. So,
how do you shift your bits to Australian?
Okay, I've just downloaded it.
Okay,
there you go.
Hey, I did want to mention one other thing I forgot to mention. Like some of the people that have been following or been in the ease of use semi-private room know that Basic 09 is one thing I'm trying to concentrate on, because I think a lot of people could write some games and stuff in there much better than Disk Basic could do, because it's faster and has a lot of extra features. One of the things that it's added in this alpha is I've actually created the new Graphics 2 module, which is for calling graphics commands, but it's the extended version that supports high-level menu handling. So you can actually do pull on menus and stuff from Basic. It's kind of like the window master that Nick's been researching under RSDOS.
Okay.
So that's in there, and it's also got the extra filled circle and filled ellipse commands, which have never been in there before. So, and that works on both 609 and 609 versions, so that it doesn't matter which base machine you're running it on, you can be able to do that. And I have some sample code in there that's mentioned in the docs that you can look up if you want to see how to use these new commands. And there's some docs right on the hard drive image itself you can look at in Nitrous 9 if you need to look it up. So I'm hoping you guys can fiddle with that and make some pretty incredible looking games in Basic.
Excellent.
Games.
Incredible looking games.
I didn't say incredibly fast. I said incredibly.
Yes, and for those of you not aware of the alphabetical order, so alpha comes before beta.
Yeah, right? A before B. Yeah.
A before B.
Maybe they do it differently in Australia. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
But
and then
do I need A, B, C, D up to Z? That's my question. Do I download them all?
I
well,
before
now you're confusing
E.
the Americans mentioning the Z thing, Nick. They have a Z. So.
Yeah, no, but that's a good point, though, Nick. When you have multiple things to choose from, make that part easy. When you go to your landing page of the FTP, just have one file be there, and that's the one you grab.
If you don't know OS 9, then you think, oh, geez, do I need it all?
Yeah.
And that's the whole point.
True.
This is ease of use edition. It's for the bozos like me.
Ease of FTP is what we need now, too.
Right.
Ease of sorting a directory. That's what we need. Sort by date.
I am about to run it now, actually.
Actually, I did have a quick question for Curtis.
Yep.
About Basic 09. Besides the fact that it's compiled or semi-construct compiled, does it offer different types of number types like integer?
Yes.
Compared to real? Oh, good. That does speed things up.
It also has complex data types. You can create entire data structures too.
Ooh.
And parameter passing. You can have subroutine modules that have their own local variables, all kinds of stuff. It's quite a nice language, actually. For its time when it came out in 1980, it was probably the most advanced BASIC, period. And it's still pretty advanced, especially in the 8-bit world. I think it still is probably the most advanced BASIC.
Now, isn't it true that Basic 09 came out first and they actually had to create OS 9 as an OS for Basic 09?
Basic 09 was actually, when Steve was talking about how the 609 was designed for programmers, Basic 09 was part of that equation because Microwave was working with Motorola before the 609 came out. And some of the things that they did on the 609, some of the instruction set is designed to facilitate compilers and interpreters, stuff like having a user stack so that the system can have its own stack, but the user programs can have their own stack as well. And that's used extensively in Basic 09. And they originally did the original Basic 09 in 1979 and 1980 when the 609 was first coming out and was working in conjunction between the two companies. And then they decided, this BASIC's really good. We should probably build an OS around it so you can do other stuff like, talk to disk drives and that kind of thing. And then they created OS 9 Level 1 as a runtime environment for Basic 09. But the original, I think it was called RT68 Basic 09 or something. I can't remember the exact name of it. But the original version was a standalone BASIC compiler without an operating system.
Cool.
Now just question: the high-res, the mouse driver, that's a normal joystick, is it? It's not high-res mouse at the moment?
You can set it to either. I mean, you can manipulate that on the control panel. I think I have it defaulting lowest. We try to default to the lowest common denominator, so it's basically set up by default for low-res changes if you want.
Yeah, because not everyone will have that hooked up. No.
I also got instructions in there. If you're like Stevie and you, actually people read instructions, you can also turn on the keyboard mouse. If you don't even have a joystick or mouse, you can still manipulate the mouse cursor.
Right. Well,
Gotcha.
so I have to have a normal mouse in there first to be able to go in there and change
Or
the
keyboard
setting.
mouse. You can change it with the keyboard mouse too. So, or
No,
you can
that-
edit the text file. That's all explained in the docs.
that needs- Yeah, well, we don't do that. So
Make sure you've got an upside down version of the documentation too. So.
I have a mirrored font in there. I think left to right, right to left bit shifted, but I don't think I have a vertically shifted one. So I'll have to add
Arabic
one for Nick.
Nice Arabic font there. So.
Okay, so
Good stuff.
Control the high res mouse now. I'm in
Has
the
this
control
become a
panel.
Does this become a tech support session?
Yeah, apparently.
This is a core dump. Unofficial core dump. Soundbite.
No core dump on the show.
All right. I just want to see my new icon.
Which one? The play one?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the sound directory.
Are you
No,
able to
fine.
screen share that, Nick? Are you not?
I'm running it on a real Coco. I haven't got my camera hooked up. Yeah.
Okay, no problem. No problem.
Ease of camera.
There you go.
Yes,
All right, so the good news is, and it's now visible too, if you get into Discord and you look for the Nitrous 9 ease of use group towards the bottom of the list in Discord, you will see a pinned message, and from there is the information to log into FTP. And then we will try to create ease of FTP as well. So you will only get the most recent download, and the archival versions will be moved off to another folder.
Yeah.
If you'd
But
like,
for now, I'll just let you know, get the beta 1 version.
Yeah, beta
It has-
1, right.
It has the
So-
name of the CPU it's oriented to. If you have a 609, definitely get the 609 one. It's much faster.
So let me ask you a question. I think I asked Bill this too, and I don't know why. Why are you guys still maintaining 6809 versions of this?
I think you meant 6309, Curtis.
Pardon me?
You said 6809.
No, he said, well, 63. If you've got a 6309,
If you got a
make sure you
609, get the 609 version. It's much
Yeah.
faster.
There.
So why are you still maintaining a 6809? Why don't we just say, screw it, let's just focus on...
To be honest, the source code, since they branched out, like when Bill and I were doing this commercial product before we released it to the public to start fiddling with, it was a 609 only.
Mhm.
And they decided to branch it back and make it 609 compatible. And now they've got if equates and stuff in the source code for the entire operating system and all the commands that's got dual chunks of, if it's a 609, use this chunk of code. If it's a 609, do this chunk of code. For me to have to rip all that back out again would take
so
weeks.
it's not even a question of trying to... It's okay. So basically, at its core, it is a conditional fork OS in the kernel, for lack of better terms. And then to change that, you'd have to change everything, and that's not what your project
to be honest,
is doing.
that's not worth the effort for me. And to be honest, since they made all the effort and the trouble of adding in all the new commands we added and all the new system calls and backported it all, then I don't want to have their time have been wasted too. And it's not that big of a deal for us to maintain
Okay.
now that they did all the work of making it conditional.
Okay, fair enough. I just, because not knowing that part, it just seems like, man, you having to make two versions. It's like, I'm thinking about what I'm doing of Cosmic Aliens right now, and I'm thinking, do I want to put all these if-thens in one program? If you're a Coco 3, ask for RGB or composite. If, I'm almost thinking I just want to save two different versions. I'm going to have a CA CC2 and a CA CC3 on the disk image, and not have my program have to give a shite what computer you have. I've got the Coco 2 version that gives 0 Fs about the Coco 3, and I have the Coco 3 version that gives 0 Fs about the Coco 2. And I don't, for me, I don't want to have to write a bunch of software to figure out what my hardware is. That
And
just
we didn't
seems
do
like-
that when we originally did 9. Between 1992 and 2001, it was strictly 609. We did see some obvious changes that would really help the 609, and that's
Mhm.
what Alan DeCock released as a tune-up, which was tune-up was meant. I mean, one, it was nice that people were getting speed ups on IRQ handling and some graphic stuff, just as a bonus. But it was meant to entice people to get Nitrous 9 because they're going, try this. This is a free download. It'll
Mhm.
speed up your OS 9 right now. But if you get a 6309 and you buy Nitrous 9, take this speed up and times that by 2 or 3.
Right.
So it was kind of an incentive to actually get people to
Right.
purchase Nitrous 9.
Right. Okay, and so Tim Franklin says, and he might be in the minority. I'm not sure about this. I can't speak for all people, but he's saying he's a purist who will not put a 6309 in his Coco.
Barry Nelson as well has said the
Barry
same
Nelson. Well, listen, you got to respect that. I don't agree with it, but I respect it. To me, it's like, listen, if I could put a supercharger in my brain, I would say, well, do I want to be pure and dumb, or would I like to be like smart and fast? And to me, that answer is obvious. But
Well, it's like, I want to run Windows 10. Can I do that on an 88, please?
Yeah, right.
On CGA.
No, I get it. There are. I mean, I get. I have.
Yeah. No,
I would.
I mean, for some of these collectors, I mean, the original machine is what they want. They
Yeah.
don't want it all gussied up.
Right. Yeah. Right. And so, in that respect, and that is a valid. That's extremely valid. I respect the machine as it was. I don't want to tamper with it. So in that case, then yeah, we're not going to do it. Now, unfortunately, even to be a purist, you have to at least acknowledge the fact you're going to have to open up the case to add the RAM, right? But that was something that a pure Coco 3 could have done too, right?
Up to 512. If you're purist,
up to 512.
Wouldn't
right.
be going past that.
Right. Okay. So, but yeah, so an original Coco 3 did not have this CPU, so we're gonna play that angle.
Yeah.
And
I should mention the new system functionality, like some of the new commands and stuff we've added, it applies to both 609 and 609 versions. But there are some optimizations for the 609 that I've been making notes of, because there's a few things I've learned over the years that I didn't do back then. So there are some more speed ups even for the 609 version that will be coming in future betas.
Okay.
Including some graphic stuff.
Excellent. All right. Well, have we beat the EOU announcement to death?
Yeah, I was meaning to just be announcement, not debugging. Not debugging Nick's understanding of English, but
yeah. Okay. All right. Well, since and that's fine. No, this is good. This is important stuff the world needs to know, and the world needs its Nitrous 9 EOU. So we'll go ahead and before we get into some more news, we'll take a quick break again, and we'll be back and we'll talk about some more news. But thank you, Curtis. Your efforts are greatly appreciated, even by those who don't understand alpha before beta. So
I like the speaker icon.
You like?
I'm in the sound menu now. Yeah, it's good.
I thought you did the trash can icon.
I did the speaker one as well.
So we're getting.
I had a speaker icon back when I had my TC9 as my native LCD, but when that hard drive crashed, there's a lot of graphic stuff I lost. I had a bunch of graphic icons for graphic viewing. I had stuff for playing sounds, not quite as good as Nick's, I will be honest. I had a few other things too, like I had 4-color mouse cursors that had a 3D look to them too, not just the plain 2-color that's in there right now. But I've lost all that, so I'll probably get Nick, because he's pretty good at doing that, I'll have to admit. Him and Hugo Delfort are really good at doing these.
Yeah.
So I'll probably get them to help me out making some 4-color like mouse cursors and hourglass cursors and that kind of stuff too later.
No problem.
Ease of icons. So.
Ease on the eyes. Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It looks good.
That's important. That's important. All right. Time for a quick break. We'll be back. Hopefully this is not another Bruce Moore commercial. So we're going to have a little bit less Bruce Moore this time around. Now, we're just kidding. We love you, Bruce, even though he's out there in the forest of doom right now. All right.
Hi, this is Dale Lear, designer of TRS-80 Color Baseball, and you're listening to CoCoTALK.
Hi, this is the award-winning Alan Huffman of Subbeat the Software, and you're watching Stevie Fall Off Cliffs.
Hey, have you got your Coco 3 yet? Hi, this is Rick Adams, author of Temple of Ram and Shanghai, and you've tuned into CoCoTALK, the nation's leading live talk show featuring the Tandy color computer.
What's going on, everybody? Original Gamer Stevie Stroh here, and if you're a fan of vintage computing and retro gaming, then you're going to love our retro swag shop at 8bit256.com. There you will find custom designs by Instagram artist Joel M. Adams. You can get I'm a Coconut, CoCoTALK, and other cool video game images on a t-shirt, coffee mug, or mouse pad. So if you love retro, then head on over to the retro swag shop at 8bit256.com today. Tell them the Original Gamer Stevie Stroh sent you.
Mention my name.
Radio
get a good
Shack
seat.
is a great gift idea for the whole family. Fast action TV games, and they're on sale. Get this 6-game model for $29.95 or the 4-game model for $21.95. With rising entertainment costs, that's a real bargain. You play hockey, tennis, squash, and more. Easy to hook up and great family fun.
Easy to hook
lasts
up.
all
Screwdriver
year
not
long.
included.
The sale price TV games. Only at Radio Shack, a Tandy company.
All right, we are back with some news. Straight from the headlines of Facebook, we bring you nothing but news. This is not fake news. This is real news, but this is what's been going on this week in the Facebook group. I'm not in the mailing list anymore, so I couldn't tell you what the hell's going on there, but I'm sure they're having a good old time. So Alan Huffman has come out of hibernation and has discovered the fact that Radio Shack is now available at some of these hobby town places. So he posted a link there. He also had posted a link recently showing how you can search for, if you go you can find Radio Shacks online to find out where the closest Radio Shack is to where you live. See, in hobby towns, Radio Shack is sold here. Hobby and DIY electronics. It's showing some drones and whatnot. Get yourself a realistic drone here, a tandy drone. Here we go. This is what we're kind of used to seeing, right? The pegboard wall. We got wires. We got little bags of stuff here, so that's kind of cool. It's just good to see again. And if you think about it, this is an extension of a hobby. So if you were, a lot of hobby places have the tools you would use to make jewelry and like bend wires and clamp things and stuff like that. So, if you're into the electronics hobby, it's kind of a natural extension of needing those types of parts and tools and resources. So it actually is a good fit. To have Radio Shack electronic parts in a hobby store already. Yeah, cool stuff. These are infamous, these pegboard displays, right? So very cool stuff. Has anybody been to a hobby town Radio Shack recently? Or any Radio Shack, a franchise store, anything like that?
Not I.
Nope.
Okay. I know a few people. I know Jason has been posting some pictures. I think Jason Reichert has found a Radio Shack or two.
When I went to look it up to see which one's close to me, I got a bunch of restaurants in the area.
Yeah. So that's cool. So if you got a hobby town near you or an actual a complete Radio Shack storefront, like a franchise one, that would be cool. It'd be interesting to hear some of those stories. These pictures here I thought were interesting, and I'm not exactly sure what the heck Ian Maverick is doing, but Nick, Ian's a neighbor of yours, right? He's Australian.
Yeah.
So he's showing off. Here's a Model 3 because it's silver, right? This might even be on Nick Morante's game here for all.
No, that one's Cosmic Fighter by another company. Yeah.
Is that Big Five?
Yeah, Big Five. Yeah.
Okay.
Now, given Australian backwards numbering like Alpha versus Beta, that's actually the Model 1, right? In Australia, and then the Model.
Right. Now this one on the right.
That's another game.
Is that these graphics? So this is high res graphics. So is this a model?
No. Is it high res or?
Yeah,
that one is. I think that's using the high res board.
Oh right. Well, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
It does look high res, doesn't it?
It certainly does. Like here's Donut Dilemma. Now is this your Donut Dilemma? That's
mine. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
And you had a title screen that looked like that.
He caught it just when it was flashing, so he got the inverse copy of it.
Okay.
It doesn't look like that, no.
I mean, it looks good though. These letters look pretty good. This looks fairly high res.
Yeah, it's all low res, but it's not bright colors. It was flashing right at that point. He must have just taken the photo and he caught the bright frame. If you move to the next picture, that's the game itself.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
Donut Dilemma, yeah.
Right. The greatest Donkey Kong clone in the history of recorded history. Now here is Canyon Climber. Now this must be PAL because we're not getting the artifacts here.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah.
Okay, so we've got a silver Coco 1 with a Coco 2 keyboard. That's a nice contrast there. Here's an Apple II with Donkey Kong, which is not as good as a Coco Donkey Kong. Cosmic Fighter, is that a Big Five game?
Yeah, that was that first photo
that's
you
the one.
showed there.
Yeah,
That's it
okay.
again, but that's the title page.
Yeah. Nice little layout he's got here, Ian Maverick. Ian Maverick will be at Tandy Assembly again this year. Unlike some of our other Australians, he finds a way to make it to the United States. So
Nick's too busy buying Ferraris with all his property.
Nick's living on his pop star money. He doesn't need to mingle with us poor folk. So I thought that was kind of a cool display. For a minute there, I thought he was running a Coco on a green screen somehow. I'm like, how the hell did he get his Coco coming through that CRT? So yeah, we'll be seeing Ian Maverick at Tandy Assembly for those who are going. Here's a nice, cool, updated picture of Hugo Defort's sprites, and he's added these killer fish here that they look pretty wicked, right? So it's looking like most of his sprites take up a single cell, but these killer fish sprites here take up four sprites. So it's got 4 grids instead of 1. So I'm not sure what game he is working on here, but the graphics look phenomenal. So
yes.
And so somebody else had mentioned in the live chat that we should probably tap Hugo to make some icons for an OS 9 too. He'd be a good person to look at for that. So this project would be really neat. I can't wait to see these things animated. So a tech demo on this would be great. Playable demo and playable game would be even better. But this doesn't look like a Coco game, honestly. This looks like
a Nintendo or something.
This looks like a 16-bit. Yeah. So this looks like a 16-bit game here. This looks like a Super NES or Sega Genesis style game. It looks really good. Now here we go. Scott Carter posted a picture. He says, I need some work, but I'm officially a collector now. So somebody's got himself a battle-worn Coco, so it needs a little bit of TLC, a little bit of polish. But yeah, nothing's better. I remember getting my first Coco 2 off of eBay, and nothing has that feeling of just getting your Coco and having the real machine in your hands again. So that's kind of cool. I love seeing pictures like that. I'm not sure if this is a full 64K model or not. I can't quite tell from... Yeah. Somebody in Mixer's here. Hey, Hissing Bat in Mixer. Good to see you. What else? So Paul Thayer, and we need to boost these numbers here. These are some rookie numbers, right? So we got to boost these. So Paul Thayer, though, and this is great, though. He said he's got 31 copies of Timberman out there. He's thanking everyone for supporting his products and his projects, and he's talking about his new projects he's working on now. One that's called, what the heck does that say? Pico Prod is a Sokoban type puzzle game. He's working on a Downland 2, an actual sequel to Downland, and his Buff Commando game. So very cool stuff. So Paul Thayer's busy bee working on some stuff. Paul Thayer's, is Simon Jonasson still with us? Is Simon still in the call? Doesn't look like it. So yeah, Simon Jonasson has been a spiritual guide to Paul Thayer, teaching him assembly.
Is David Ladd the star of Buff Commando?
David's head is. Buff Commando, the David Ladd head story. So yeah, what I was thinking about doing is, since Nick Marentes has sold enough copies of Popstar now to buy his 3rd Ferrari, we're gonna do a marathon of Paul Thayer's Timberman, maybe later on tonight or Sunday. Monday is Labor Day, and so I'm going to be probably doing all kinds of game streaming all day Labor Day, just variety of games, Coco games, Xbox games, PC games. So yeah, we're going to get some of that stuff in the mix. So I was thinking about maybe we can do a marathon chop off to see who can get the highest, unlock the most characters, the highest score, all that kind of stuff. So cool stuff. So Paul Thayer, we love you. We can't wait to see more Timberman and more products from Paul Thayer. And so hopefully we'll do a stream of that this weekend. Good stuff. Brian Wiesler, who had to leave us now, he was with us earlier in the show. So here he is showing us pictures of his ears program. That looks pretty cool, right? That's just a cool manual, electronic audio recognition. You can see the actual hand staples in the manual, back in the good old days, right? Now, did you say somebody in the comments had posted a picture or video of them using it? Was this one here from, okay, so this is Mike Guzzi or Guzzi. He says, we used ears for our senior engineering project back in 1989 to have a locked door open with voice recognition. So is that what this video is doing here? And how long is this video? This video is a total of 1 minute 47 seconds. So this is him going to be showing how, why did it pause? Oh, it's buffering. Anyway, so that's in the Facebook post. We're not going to, I don't know why that's buffering. I guess my internet is not working. But that's kind of cool. So if you go to the Facebook group and look for the ears post by Brian Wiesler, you can see this video here where somebody used an actual demonstration of using the Coco ears to unlock a door. Was it, Curtis?
Oops. I think that's what he said, yeah.
Yeah. And so I'm not sure why mine is buffering right now. But that's okay. Maybe it's a Facebook thing. But that's neat. I never saw this one. So this is the opposite of a speech synthesizer. This is a speech recognizer, right? So this is a digitizing input of your voice.
Yeah, it came with a little headset that you'd put on with a little mic and... and you would speak into it. You'd train it on words, so you'd type in into the program that controlled it what the word was actually going to interpret, and then you'd record your speech. So you could actually assign words in BASIC itself, like I gave the example earlier of doing list and dir.
Yeah, yeah.
And you would just say dir, and it would immediately type dir for you, and fire up the directory.
Yeah. It reminds me of what we'd get later, like for Windows, the Dragon naturally speaking program. And in early versions of these, a lot of training was involved where you had to go through and speak and re-speak and do all kinds of stuff. And
and you can remember on the CoCo, we only had 64K. So, I mean, you had very little room for these digitized samples. So it was pretty fussy. You had to enunciate the same. Like if you got a frog in your throat, it wouldn't have a clue what you're saying.
Right.
Even today, when it comes to these things like Alexa and stuff like that, they do not do the human sampling of your voice locally. They send it up to the cloud, the audio, and there they use their computer learning and all that kind of stuff to pick apart your voice. Because tell you the honest truth, when you listen to somebody else speak, half the time you're really having to concentrate on what they're saying, because a word sounds like another word, or they slur it, or they do this, or they do that, and it just doesn't come through. So these early computers, they couldn't do any of that stuff. So unless you spoke exactly the same way every time, it would never recognize your speech.
Yeah. I had worked for a couple of companies in the late 90s, right around the turn of the millennium, and we were, when I say we, the programmers, I wasn't one of the programmers, but we were working on the voice recognition for the phone attendants, the virtual operator type stuff. And it was really interesting how that technology works. And so the paradigm shift was from voice recognition, which is keyed into one person, and speech recognition, which is generic, which is kind of like what Siri does now. We take it for granted now, but there are different engines that were used in speech recognition, and then you had to learn about the phonemes and how those work and how to pair together the different phonemes for recognition. And for certain words where you might have alternate, you kind of create a lookup table for each word, and you can maybe have some alternate pronunciations for certain words you could put in that lookup table. So there was a lot going on. This was some really bleeding edge stuff in like late 99 for these different companies I was working for. Then one of them was a bunch of former IBMers, and this was out in Boca. There used to be a big IBM plant in Boca, and they had founded this one company, and they were working on this stuff, and it was really interesting to see how it worked. And again, now we're looking at 19 years later, your phone's doing it, but it's outsourcing that to the cloud. You're basically cloud sourcing the computational power needed to do this now.
The other thing too is they learned it wasn't, we got to look at each word individually, which was the old systems do. We got to look at the entire phrase, and they may not know what this one word is, but then you say another word and go, oh, that's what you meant by that word.
Yeah, you have to do contextual comparisons to figure out, in the context, this word means something different in different context.
Or the fact is, two words sound so similar. Or if you happen to have an accent, such as maybe from the South, that's going to make the word sound quite a bit different. I mean, it's all those characteristics thrown in there. That's the reason why they do use artificial intelligence to figure out what the hell you're saying.
Yeah, it's pretty. I mean, the days of Star Trek are getting closer all the time. Siri, Alexa, it's just like computer. Earl Grey, hot.
How many times in the course of the day you're listening to somebody and you basically have to ask them to repeat it, because there's no way your brain was even fathoming what they were because the way the words were coming or something like that.
Yep.
It's the exact same thing that happens to Stevie when he reads a manual.
Speech recognition is extremely hard, even for the humans.
And another challenge to it too is the quality of the microphone, ambient noise, and a bunch of other things too that can affect the interpretation of what's being sampled and processed.
If you have a cold, if you got a bit of a hoarse throat or something too, that changes it too.
Yeah,
you're in the middle of a cocktail party,
right? So the fact that we had this on the CoCo at all is pretty cool. So EARS, Electronic Audio Recognition System. So it was actually an acronym, speech systems, huh? EARS. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. So these things are neat. And I believe Brian mentioned that the ones he had were his own. And like Ron Delvau's got a lot of his original stuff. And that's got to be the greatest feeling. When you have these things, it's been like a time capsule and a treasure chest, and you open up that box and then you take it all out and you've got all your original stuff. And for me, unfortunately, I don't have any of my original Coco stuff. So all of my retro stuff now is all eBay acquisitions, but it's still nice to have, but it's got to be even a little bit sweeter when you've got your originals, and who was somebody recently posted in Facebook saying, "Hey, thanks for having me. I just acquired a collection from a museum." I forgot that guy's name. I should have saved that article. So we're looking forward to some of his things he's going to post on some probably fairly rare and seldom seen items. If anybody can find that one, let me know.
I did want to mention too, like Ears, as far as I know, it was only a Coco 1.2 product, so it only used up 64K. I would love to see somebody take Ears and patch it or rewrite it for the Coco 3 first of all, so you can get the double CPU speed. Maybe even 6 through 9, so you can process the voice even better than you are now, and also use 512K for the samples it's keeping to compare, because you can actually make a pretty decent size library of commands with it nowadays.
Right. I'm just trying to scroll through here to find this person who, not my Coco, but there's a cheap Coco on Goodwill. All right, I can't find it now, but somebody had posted saying, "Hey, I'm new to the group and I've got all this stuff." So we'll have to find that one. Good stuff. Yeah, that's neat. Does anybody remember? I don't remember who made it or what it was called, but there was a software-based speech synthesizer too, where you could
speak up.
I don't remember what it's called. I had it. It sounded really hoarse.
Yeah,
it almost sounded like, you remember Fury by Computer Shack.
Yeah, it was a really low sampling rate because you had to fit it in memory. It was called Speak Up. There was a 16K version and a 32K version. And I discovered that if you did the double speed poke on the Coco 3, it actually spoke, higher pitch, but it actually sounded better because it effectively doubled your sampling rate while sounding like a Muppet.
Okay. Yeah, that was kind of a neat task too, to have software-based speech synthesis. Some pretty neat stuff came out of the Coco for a machine that didn't really have dedicated hardware like a sound chip or a speech synthesizer or a music synthesizer. It's just been a lot of neat projects came out of that. So a lot of innovative stuff.
Just don't get me started about not having a sound chip. Yes. Cool stuff. All right, so let's switch over now to maybe not necessarily news, but we're getting more into the area of events and other items. Boom. So, if you're not aware, if you haven't been on the internet recently, another episode of the Coco Crew has dropped. And according to my Facebook notifications, I've been notified 19.7 billion times now that a new episode of the Coco Crew has dropped. And I am actually looking forward to listening to it. And so what I do like about the website is if you go to cococrew.org, and so they're on episode 39 now, which is their 40th episode because they started on 0. So 40 episodes, 40 months, 48. We're going on 4 years, right? So about eight months away from 4 years of the Coco Crew podcast. That's an achievement just in itself. With all the money you make on a podcast, it's hard to see how these guys have remained humble this long. But there is so what's going on here? We have let me do like what she said, and can you make it a little bigger? So what are some of our news items? Soul Chest by Jim. What are the odds that Jim Gary would have a game mentioned in the Coco Crew podcast? It's not like he cranks them out very often, right?
It's pretty rare that Jim Gary only has one mention, but I think there's more.
So we got some Jim Gary stuff here. DriveWire development update. Guess who's got a MIDI to MML converter? Sheldon McDonald. Learning 6502 assembly. So we got a lot of different news items in here, and I don't know that these are timestamped, but you know when the news starts, and there are links to any of the articles here.
Hey Steve, I've got a bulletin that just came in.
Okay.
Allstate's got a new product that they just came out with called DriveWire.
Allstate.
Yep. It's a module you plug in your car, and it kind of spies on your driving.
Yeah.
Discounts, but they call it DriveWire.
Oh, neat.
Somebody should have trademarked DriveWire.
I believe a lawsuit should be in order at this point now. So let's contact Coco.
I don't know.
Legal
That didn't
Department.
work all that well for Microware versus Apple.
Yeah, for OS 9. Yeah.
Yeah, it's either Allstate or State Farm. One or the other came out. It's DriveWire.
Here we go. So this is I was trying to see what this link was here. So one of the links that got posted in there. Yeah, I've got one. I've got the progressive snapshot that does that, and a few of them have that where if you agree to have your privacy invaded, you can potentially get a discount on your insurance. But now
they're
one's
not allowed
called
here in California.
The fact that it's called DriveWire. Now, David Ladd would probably want to somehow connect to that via Bluetooth and make a Coco project where he can communicate with his car diagnostics over DriveWire now. DriveWire, TTL, ESP. So here's your news articles. We have some feedback sections. We've got a host discussion, how much difference is due to fuzzy memories, a tech segment using a headset adapter with a cassette port, an interview with Ron Klein, which I'm looking forward to listening to.
And he's going to be at least a regular or semi-regular
yes
for them.
Yes. Neil's Corner. So Neil Blanchard is reviewing Furious Felines 2 from our good friend of the show, Diego. Yeah, so Ron Klein, we had Ron on not too long ago where talking about the Cocoa Pie project, and Ron's a really good guy. And so, I'm looking forward to hearing his interview, and it's sounding like, because I think John Linville posted something in the Discord group saying that Ron Klein might become a fairly regular addition to the Coco Crew. So the Coco Crew is expanding. So good stuff.
Yeah, that's not a rumor thing. That's actually official. That's
right. That's official. Okay. So there you have it. So part of what's going on right now is the latest episode of the Coco Crew podcast. So make sure you give that a listen. We should remind you that Retro Challenge is still going on right now. So if you want to go to retrochallenge.org, the September edition of Retro Challenge is going on. And I believe, here's the rules, right? According to the rules. And okay, I got to make it bigger again. Because I'm old, I can't read. It says it commences on September 1st, so you got the entire month of September, from the 1st to the 3rd. In order to qualify, computer systems must be 10 years old or older. Gaming consoles, if they're made by the previous century, where appropriate, replica hardware or emulators may be used. Entrants are responsible for adequately documenting their projects and submitting occasional updates during the contest. The standard is a blog or post daily and weekly or so. Project may encompass any aspect of retro computing that tickles the fancy. Winners will be carefully selected and adulation bestowed, and have fun. Okay, so this is twice a year Retro Challenge, I think.
I think it is now. It used to be a bit more often, but John just doesn't have the time to do it as often.
Okay, and who are the entrants right now? So John Linville has an entrance. Matteo is doing something. Matteo's in Italy, right? And Tom Porter. Tom Porter's an Apple guy, right? Mark, you're muted, Mark. I can't hear you if you're talking. So Vintage Bolts is an entrance. Jason Falkowski.
Yep, I'm on there too.
Okay. Michi Ramkers. So you can see who... Okay, Mark, this is a special project that actually can be compiled in time. I'm attempting a multiplayer network text adventure. So you're going to do this in 30 days?
I'm hoping to. I've been trying for 2 years now. I haven't succeeded.
All right. So there you go.
That sounds like our Nitrous 9.
Okay, so Anders is going to scan manuals for Commodore PET Basics and dumping wrongs and developing VIC-20 games that utilizes both 40 and 80 columns. That's cool. Here's our friend Diego. Write a Coco version of Hippo Teeth. He talked about that last week, right? So he's entering this into Retro Challenge. Install a full OS and applications on my Acer Note 730 laptop. Review my old basic programs from tapes, find some interesting ones, and try to improve them. Good stuff. So you can see here a lot of people have a lot of different projects going on here. So some of these people have letters in them I can't even pronounce in their names, right? So it's obviously an international thing here. This guy must have gotten his photo from the David Ladd camera collection. He's got the nice pixelated photo there. Here's our good friend Davey Mitchell. Okay, so in this Retro Challenge, I want to create a text adventure, new territory for me for the Dragon, Tandy MC10. I also want to try to keep the resources portable so I can create a version for unfamiliar systems such as the ZX Spectrum. The list goes on, right? So Earl Evans is an FPGA development board. I'd like to get a retro CPU core up and running. Jim Gary, what a shock, right? So he's going to try
to do a retro channel.
Man, there are a lot of people. Paul Robson, I recognize that name. I think I might be friends with him, but yeah. So, man, a lot of entrants in Retro Challenge. So this can't be an easy task to have to judge these, but good job.
Actually, it's probably not quite as hard as you think, because these are all the people that have committed to trying to do the challenge. But as Mark has discovered, a lot of people end up they don't have the time to complete it, or find out that it's beyond their scope of the time. So the actual final ones that complete to get in the competition is usually quite a smaller number. These are all the proposed projects, basically.
Okay, there you go. So that's the entrance list. So very cool. 2.5 weeks away. 2 weeks away. VCF Midwest. So a lot of stuff going on there. A lot of Tandy people will be here. A lot of Coco folks. A lot of Tandy representation will be going on at VCF Midwest. This will be my first one. So that's vcfmw.org is the website. And so hopefully we'll be providing you some live or semi-live footage of the event. Not a continuous stream, but at least some letting you know what's going on. And what we still haven't figured out yet is how are we going to do a CoCoTALK? We might not be able to do a CoCoTALK that weekend, only because Grant's my backup streamer. And unless I throw that out there, if anybody else has the ability to stream, if you've got it needs to be a Windows PC, you need to have fairly decent bandwidth and hopefully at least maybe 2 monitors. And you want me to help get you set up to maybe be an alternate stream host for that weekend to keep CoCoTALK going. Let me know. We'll have to figure that out. I'm sorry, Steve. What were you going to say?
I was going to say that might be doable for me because I'm on optical internet connection and I've definitely got 2 large monitors.
Okay.
And for a fairly powerful computer.
And Stevie, feel free to use the newly released Beta 1 on your display somewhere.
Okay. Maybe if I can get it running on the Cocoa Pi, because I think that's what I was going to bring. Is a Cocoa Pi.
Just remember, it's the file at the very bottom, the beta.
The Betamax. Yeah. So it's a Betamin. And now Tandy Assembly. Now we can play the Myro clip. So hold on 1 second here. Let's play a little Tandy Assembly soundbite here for you.
Tandy Assembly. Tandy Assembly is about Radio Shack and Tandy computers.
Tandy Assembly is about interacting.
Tandy Assembly is about people.
Tandy Assembly is about fun.
The first gathering of its kind.
Computers of the 70s, 80s, and 90s.
All Radio Shack and Tandy makes and models.
Join us. Don't miss Tandy Assembly.
In Springfield, Ohio, November 10th and 11th.
Whether you're near or far.
Tandy Assembly is for everyone.
Visit our webpage at www.tandyassembly.com.
Tandy Assembly.
Look at that. Nice little ditty there. Would expect nothing less from Myro, right?
Yeah, it kind of takes you back to the Pussycat theaters back in the 70s.
So Tandy Assembly will be right on the heels of VCF Midwest, and it is, what are the dates here? November 10th and 11th in Springfield, Ohio. I believe Jason Reichert is now confirmed as attending. I believe he had said, listen, I've got a moral obligation. If I'm in the same state as this event, I should probably be there. So, Jason, you're confirmed?
That is correct.
All right. You got a table?
Yep. Signed up last night.
There you go. And so now we can add to your list of credentials as seen as PenFest and Coco Fest and Tandy Assembly. Jason, the Coco Man Reichert, right? So I am definitely hoping to make that event. Still kind of to be determined.
You're a definite maybe.
Definite maybe, yeah. But Grant's got a room already booked, so if I need to shack up with my snuggle buddy and do some spooning, we got that taken care of. So I got all those words all rolled into one statement.
I don't know. You got some competition with David now, so.
So I believe we've covered some events, we've covered some news. For those of you who need to have Facebook spoon fed to you, we've just done that. Just make sure you lick off the spoon before you put it back in the drawer for the next person. So good stuff, good times. Have I missed anything? Other than the guy who said I inherited a museum collection, I can't find his post right now.
You know, David and Grant could make a Stevie sandwich.
Oh, Christ.
This isn't an After Dark episode.
Yeah, so hopefully later tonight we will possibly have that, or at least this weekend, we're going to have some more Coco marathoning. I enjoyed that, actually.
That's been a while since you did one of those. So
Yeah. I mean, honestly, it was probably 6 hours playing Nick Marenti's games over the weekend. I had the two different marathons of roughly 3 hours at a time.
4 hours of mullet discussion and 2 hours of gameplay. Yep.
Yeah, and I still didn't get past level 2.
What does your wife do?
My wife?
Yeah, while you're busy.
Oh, she does her own thing. So yeah. Paul Friscarelli says 60% of the time Steve will be there all the time. What the hell does that mean? So yeah, so maybe Coco Gaming Marathon, games on demand for the Memorial Labor Day weekend. I always get those confused. So we'll fire up a Coco. We'll get the Coco STD going and play some Coco games. We'll play some Nick Marenti's games. We'll play some Bomb Threat. We're gonna try to move some inventory here. So we'll try to sell some of the new software for Bomb Threat and Timberman and Popstar Pilot and all that kind of stuff. So. So Ken Reichert says my Popstar arrived today. How long did it take, Ken? Probably about a week, right? Somebody else had offered to help too. I think it was Chad, and I think Chad's also in the UK too. I don't remember, or somewhere in some foreign country. But he was saying, "Listen, I'd like to help, and if you need me to help you, maybe put some jewel cases together or something else like that." So he was actually volunteering to help with the production of the CDs. And actually, if we can find out where Chad is, if he's closer to Nick, that might help for the Australian unit of production. But for the ones that are on the website, I don't have to do anything. So I appreciate the offer, but it's all made by a fulfillment house. They will produce them on demand. Each one is professionally printed and produced and shrink wrapped and shipped out, and you get it in about a week. So yeah, so cool stuff. So a lot going on. So if you haven't listened to the latest Coco Crew, you got some listening there. I'm really looking forward to hearing what Ron Klein has to say. Somebody else put a comment saying Ron's got a really good radio voice. I think that was in Discord. Somebody had mentioned that Ron sounded really good. He's got a nice kind of radio type voice.
Thank you.
So yeah.
Too kind.
Thank you. Too kind. Yeah. All right. What have I missed, guys?
Nothing. While you guys were fiddling your bits, I added a bit more to my game. So I've got it sort of animated and working. So I can, if you want to share the screen, I'll just throw it up.
Yeah, let's do an Eeyore and get it on up here. So fiddle those bits up on the screen.
Okay. And sharing. Now, is that coming up?
Ooh, yes. Ooh, it's pulsating.
So that's the title. But I got the flashing text going, and it also alternates between the created copyright page, that page there, and the high score page. It does also play the music as well. It's just that I didn't like the music, so I've got to recreate some music for it. But it does at the moment. That will be playing the music as well while it's doing that. And so getting the intros just about ready.
Neat. I like that. So it cycles through the different info screens here.
It just cycles, it just cycles back and forth, playing the music. What it will do is it'll play the designed and programmed by some buffhead in Australia page. Then it'll go to this high score page, and then it'll go to a demo game. Now I can't do that yet because obviously the game's not in there yet.
Okay.
But it'll play a demo game, and then it'll go back and cycle the whole lot again.
Neat.
So
the demo have music.
And there's music not during the game, but only during this high score title pages. But I am thinking about putting a voice sample in there as well. So
neat.
Yeah,
a Darth Vader
Darth Vader
noise.
Well, yeah, we'll see. But yeah,
Nick, we are definitely different in the way of coding because I write the game, then I do the title screen because I don't know how much room I was going to have left over for the title screen.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm in Australia, so I'm upside down.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. You got it backwards, dude.
I do it.
That's actually funny because we discussed that very point last week.
Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, when I was doing Megabug, its original name was Dung Beetles. Then it went to Tumblebug. Then it went to Fire Ant Frenzy. Then it went to Megabug. So the title was obviously the last thing that kept changing, and I kept improving things in the game and putting lowercase in and stuff like that. And Tandy kept screaming at me, says they kept on saying, we send this thing to the game testers and all we're asking is the name of the game to be changed, nothing else, and now we got to test the whole game over again. And it's just, hey, look, I found an extra 4 bytes, I could do something with it. Threw it into the title screen. So it's just like, title screens come last.
Yeah, no, I've always done it the other way around.
Oh boy.
Yeah. I think in Steve's case though, you were writing to limitations more than Nick is. You had a certain size cartridge you had to hit.
And he had time as well.
Time was the kicker.
Yeah. And then Nick, on the other hand, he's writing for a 512K Coco 3, and I don't think any of his games have used all 512 yet. So he's got 200K left over irregardless. So it's not a big deal for him.
And if 512K is not enough, he can also require that you use Richard's
Boomerang
edition 2.
Yeah. But
I've only gotten to using half that 512 anyway for all the stuff I do. So
plenty of bits left to fiddle there, Nick.
You can shift them all over the place.
I do have to admit, when I was writing Z89, it's like, 128, really restrictive, 512. Hey, I got lots of room here. I can bring in audio and have it decompress sitting in a RAM. I don't have to decompress it while I'm playing. So
Donkey Kong by Sockmaster John Kowalski does the exact same thing. That's that whole decompressing data at the beginning. It's audio samples and his sprite simulator and everything else. So,
no, it's the only way to get it on one floppy.
Yeah, that's a challenge now too, because now your next limitations now is your floppies have less storage than your RAM does.
And that's exactly why the ease of use is being distributed with a hard drive image.
Yeah. Yes. And I'm running out of time. I've got to finish the spit polish on my Cosmic Aliens to be able to bring it to VCF Midwest. I've got one more level to implement in there.
Curtis, your 6809 version has Alpha 4 still, but 6309 has Beta 1 on it. So
okay, I was pretty groggy, so I'll fix that up and put it back up. It's not a big deal. It's just a weird thing, but yeah.
No problem.
I'll write that down so I don't forget.
Curtis, did you get the loading issue that we were talking about a while back about large directories?
No, I haven't had a chance to get onto that. I basically, most of the stuff that's in the beta I did back in early July, and then I was hoping to get some free time over the last 2 months to get back into it, and I basically had none. So rather than just keep holding off, except for your icon, that's about the only thing I threw in, and one bug fix for Basic 09. But basically, it hasn't been touched since mid-July. I was hoping to get time, and I just kind of finally just cut the cord and said, I got to release it now just because it's going to keep sitting, and nobody's going to be able to test it. So, like I said, Beta 2 will have a lot more of the bug fixes and corrections and stuff, and that should come a lot more rapidly than Beta 1 did.
Very cool. Grant, you still with David?
Sounds like he is.
They're busy.
All right, so have we beat this one to death? I think we have.
Mm-hmm.
Does it need any more beating needed?
The beatings will continue until morale improves.
All right, there we go. The beatings will continue.
I didn't hear the crickets, but they should have been there.
Yes,
I'll put the train in there or whatever.
Yep. All right, so I think we have covered enough. I guess what we can try to figure out later on, we'll just chat in Discord. Do we do an After Dark tonight? Maybe play some Timberman tonight? If not, I know Sunday in the middle of the day we've got a family function to attend to. So if I do a Sunday marathon, it would be probably in the evening, and Monday should be free all day. So Monday, regardless, I'm planning on marathoning. Oh, there's Grant. Grant, you and you left, David?
Haven't left him. I'm about ready to. Why? Is there something you need to?
No, I just was going to say goodbye to you guys. We're getting ready to wrap up this train wreck here.
Yeah, I made a special David happy. I don't know if you guys knew or not, but he got a Dragon off of eBay, and his power supply didn't work. So I decided to make the special trip and give him my power supply so he can get the Dragon working on his. See if it works.
What a guy! What a nice guy.
I was worried for a while there. You said you made him happy, so I didn't know whether you need to cut that.
And so ends the bit fiddling episode.
Yes.
Well, we've got more to talk about now.
Yeah, we thought it'd be kind of cool, to kind of play a prank on you guys, saying, hey, I'm driving through Iowa, and then I just pop up at the same place David did, But
Yeah, no, that's cool.
It was nice to see him, so.
Yeah, definitely. He's been preoccupied quite a bit lately, so it was definitely good to see him and hear from him.
So
good
what did
show.
You trade? Did you trade anything? Did you get any stuff?
No, I didn't trade anything. I just gave him my Candy Dragon to use for a while to. He's working on some projects and stuff. So.
Did you get some fries?
Yeah, I ate a couple fries.
Excellent. All right, so we will figure out if we're going to get together tonight. Hopefully we can. If not, hopefully we'll have time this weekend. And for some more bonus material, bonus content, some mullathons in our future. Anything we can do to make fun of Curtis Boyle and raise money for a good cause at the same time, it's a win-win. So,
are you going to contact Paul Thayer to have him at the?
Yeah. I told him I'm going to try to do it. He says he's interested. He's going to try to be there. He's got to figure out a time. So, if not, we can have
that charity should be my shrink. Bugging me about my
yeah. should be your barber. Your barber should get hazard pay. So.
Oh, by the way, I met one of David's friends up here, and just to let you know, don't feel bad when you make fun of his hair because his friends up here do the same as well.
Oh, wow. Crikey. Poor David. Boy, I tell you, I got no respect.
Yeah, I got to talk to Paul Fiscarelli for a while the other day, and he's got some stuff coming up.
Yeah?
Yep, he's working on a project.
Good.
Is it hardware or software? Can you say anything?
It's software.
Okay. Well, he did reveal something last year at Tandy Assembly, and hopefully if it's the same project, we might see more of that this year at Tandy Assembly. Yep. Good stuff. Good times. Something else I have too. I haven't mentioned this, but because I haven't really had time to look at it. But the tool that I've been using for Cosmic Aliens is a tool that John Strong has given me. So it's kind of a little mini IDE. It's mostly an editor that edits my basic program. It tokenizes it. It updates it in a disk image. It can now actually launch an emulator too and run it. But something else that John Strong has done for me is he has given me 2 assembly language routines inside Cosmic Aliens. One of them is a pcopy, and one of them is a CLS or PCLS or whatever it's called. So they'll clear the screen. So there are two enhancements to the game, and I'm not sure if it's a completely like night and day difference in how fast the game runs. But the fact that the pcopy is now not being done through a ROM routine, but it's being done through a customized assembly routine, it's got to be a little faster, so it's got to help. I haven't really played with Cosmic Aliens in a couple of weeks. For a while, I spent so much time on it, I kind of burned out, but now I got to get back on it. But hopefully the version I will show off with the new assembly language pcopy thing will be slightly nicer. I got to start testing it on real hardware now, too, because one of the things I wanted to do was I wanted to try to disable the break key on the CoCo 2, which is supposed to speed it up. And none of the things worked in MAME, but I haven't tried it on a real CoCo 2. So I'm going to have to try it. I have to try some of those break key disable pokes and peaks and stuff to see if I can get that to work. Just as a little bit of a speed increase there too. And hopefully a combination of all those things will make for a halfway decent demo in the next 13 days. We're going out to VCF with my snuggle buddy.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Not the snuggling part. You'll keep it in your own bed.
Talking about the actual show.
Yeah. So Ken's asking, isn't P-Copy already pretty fast? Well, I mean, it's fast for what it does, but apparently it's faster if you do a customized assembly routine, right, Curtis?
Yes.
Yeah. So
I'm just updating the beta.
Yeah. All right. So there you have it. All right. So any other parting thoughts or words before we start phase 1 of the closing credits? Ron,
how you download the beta and let us know your feedback.
There you go. Ron, how's Paul Barton doing?
Pretty good, actually. I let him play with my IDE interface, the one from the club. What's the name? I forget the name of it. Anyway, so he got it working though. He had I had a hard drive I gave him to use, and he has one.
Super ID.
Both of them going. It was kind of fun to hear the report. I was over there for a while watching him play with it, and he wasn't getting it. And I think he wound up finding old drivers that worked well. And,
okay.
He was enjoying that.
Well, since Greg and Jason are both driving, I've got a new sound effect just for them.
Do it.
So we're in hot pursuit. We're in hot pursuit.
Do it.
Oh, I'm not sharing the sound with you guys. You can't hear it, huh?
Oh, no.
There you go. Now you're going to have to do it again now since you guys missed it.
He's pulling over.
There we go. So Greg and Jason are being... Attention all units. Last seen at a McDonald's with a bald-headed man is now escaping. Attention all units.
Take out your Canadian license.
Yeah. You got to press the button for the oil slick to start coming up. Now we're getting into Spy Hunter here. So, all right. Well, we're going to start phase 1 of the CoCoTALK outro here. So we'll be back here in about a minute and a half. So gather your final parting thoughts and words of wisdom, and we'll be back here in just a minute. This concludes another episode of CoCoTALK, the world's leading live talk show featuring the Tandy Color Computer. For all things CoCoTALK, visit us on the web at CoCoTalk.live. We'd love to hear from you. Send feedback, suggestions, even segments via email to CoCoTalk@CoCoTalk.live. If you love the color computer like we do, then visit IMACoconut.com for all your color computer links needs. Consider supporting the show with a purchase of merchandise from our retro swag shop at 8bit256.com. If you'd like to become a patron of the show, visit the Patreon link on our site at CoCoTalk.live. CoCoTALK would not exist without the community and its cast and crew. Thanks go to Curtis Boyle, David Ladd, Mark Overholzer, Grant Leedy, Bruce Moore, Nick Marentes, Ron Delvaux, Rick Adams, Jason Reichert, Richard Lorbieski, Jim Brain, Karen Anscombe, Simon Jonason, Wayne Campbell, Steve Batson, Brian Joyce, John Strong, and Barry Nelson. Special thanks to Steve Bjork for production suggestions and Brian Joyce for our best of episodes and bonus content. Please help support the CoCo community by visiting some of its contributors. The CoCo Crew podcast at CoCoCrew.org. Glenside Color Computer Club, host of CoCo Fest at GlensideCCC.com. Jim Brain and Retro Innovations at Go4Retro.com. Tandy Assembly at TandyAssembly.com. Boyson Technologies at BOYSONTech.com. Get your own switcheroo at cocoman.biz and Cloud9 Technologies at cloud9tech.com. CoCoTALK is hosted by Steve Strobridge, co-hosts, technical directors, segment hosts, and producers Curtis Boyle, David Ladd, Grant Leedy, Mark Overholzer, Ron Delvaux, and Jason Reichert. Production motivation, Steve Bjork. The CoCoTALK theme song is copyright 2008 by D. Bruce Moore and Greg Schalar. Mixed, mastered, and produced by D. Bruce Moore. CoCo forever, people. And let's not forget a very special thank you to Roger Taylor for getting us on the CoCo TV channel on Roku. Three Muggeteers. And there we go. It's a wrap. We're off the air. Well, we're not off the air, but we're out of show, I believe, right? So
I think we ran out of show half an hour ago.
about 3 hours ago. So
When does that stop us?
right, it's a wrap. All right, so to be determined, possibly more content tonight, definitely more content this weekend. Thank you all for being here. Still in the program, Curtis Boyle, Ron Delvaux, Mark Overholzer, Al Hartman, Steve Bjork, Nick Marentes, Grant Leedy, and Jason Reichert, both in hot pursuit. So in the live chat, we've had a veritable cornucopia of people with nothing better to do on a Saturday afternoon but listen to this crap. But we've had Retro Innovations and Mark Overholz and Rob Inman and Richard Lorbieski and Ken Reichert, Alexander Wallace, Rob Inman, Davey Mitchell, Al Hartman. Pint of Milk was here. And Kyle Eder was here. And Nick Marotta. Has anybody heard from Nick Marotta this week? I believe Nick Marotta was in here. And Mark Overholzer, Ken Reichert, Coco Man, Brian Weisler was here. Davey Mitchell, and all kinds of people in the live. Tom C., Tim Franklin, Curtis Boyle, Ken Reichert, Dave Phillipson said, hey guys. And Retro Innovations has been here. Paul Fiscarelli, Rob Inman, Nick Marotta. The list goes on. Dave Phillipson, Paul Fiscarelli. I think I'm repeating myself at this point. Tom C., Rob Inman. Yes, Tim Franklin, Davey Mitchell. I believe Eddie Serbinski was here from up there in the Great White North. Dr. X 0079, Retro Innovations. I believe I mentioned Retro Innovations, Tim Franklin, and so on. Paul Fiscarelli.
I think you may have forgotten Nick Marotta.
I might have forgotten Nick Marotta, our CNN correspondent here. Al Hartman was in the chat, Paul Fiscarelli, Tom C., and then Mojop01 says, awesome show, everyone. I'm an addict. Mojop. And Nick Marotta. Yes, Nick Marotta.
That's the first step admitting that you have a problem.
The first step we have is I'm an addict. Yeah. So that's it. So, yeah, Jason's going through a tunnel there. Woo, woo, woo. We're in hot pursuit. Roscoe P. Coltrane's. Yeah, all right, we're out of here. All right, guys, so thank you all for watching. We're going to skip the post-closing credits at this time. What do you guys think? Should we play post-closing, or have we had enough? Is everybody done? It's time to put a fork in it?
You're the boss.
No, I'm not the boss here. Tom C.
Push
all right.
the button, Frank.
Press the button, Frank. All right.
Live from Kandahar.
This is the sound of me hanging up on the live stream. Thank you, everybody. We'll hopefully see you more this weekend. Coco forever, Retro forever, David Ladd forever, and we'll see you next time. And don't forget to fiddle your bits, shift your bits, rotate your bits. Just do not try to do an arithmetic shift left, because it doesn't work. So we'll see you next time. Bye.
Later all.